Chapter 1460. Qin Wentian's voice was like thunder, ringing out in the ears of everyone. In an instant, the gazes of everyone turned to Qin Wentian. This immortal king was actually so audacious, telling the people of the Ying clan to scram down the moment he appeared. The eyes of the experts from the Ying clan narrowed. That peak-stage immortal king sitting in the center stared at Qin Wentian as immortal light radiated from him. He then calmly spoke. Do you know who you are talking to? The demons of the desolate mountains are fighting against the humans of the immortal realms. What have you guys done? Instigating the demons to act ruthlessly against the Namhuang clan? Do you think everyone here is a fool? Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the immortal king in the air. Your Ying clan has a grudge with the Namhuang clan. You should settle it later. Using such underhanded methods now is simply a humiliation to the human race. Well said. Jun Mingchen spoke. He walked out of the Emperor's Eye region and inclined his head, staring at the experts from the Ying clan. Despicable people like you all, what qualifications do you have to sit here and point your fingers? Acting like you are the representatives of the human race, Wuxia. How disgusting. The Saber-Sword Immortal King's words are right. You guys should scram down. You guys don't have the qualifications to sit here. The expressions of the experts from the Ying clan grew even more unsightly. They didn't expect that there would actually be people who dared to target them. They were able to sit here because the experts from the Ying clan were extremely powerful, including an extremely terrifying character from the Ying clan, Ying Zhantian. Ying Zhantian was a peak-stage immortal king. He sat in the center, his eyes gleaming with the intent of an emperor. Even though he was humiliated by Qin Wentian and Jun Mingchen, he was still as calm as ever. He merely stared at Qin Wentian and Jun Mingchen as he spoke. It's very simple if you want us to get down. Show us your strength. 3 rounds. Early-stage Immortal Kings, Mid-stage Immortal Kings and Peak-stage Immortal Kings. The rules are the same as before. If you guys lose, scram down. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. That's right. Before we deal with these evil creatures, let's get rid of some of the scum among the humans first. If you still have the pride of being a top force, then accept the challenge. Jun Mingchen arrogantly spoke. In an instant, the aura of an immortal king from the Ying clan gushed forth, causing those with weaker cultivation bases to feel stifled. If you guys don't even have the courage to accept the challenge, you guys would be a disgrace by just sitting there. An immortal king from the Namhuang clan coldly spoke. No one had expected that the battle would suddenly turn into a civil war. The greater demons of the desolate mountains hadn't expected this either. This time, it was their turn to watch the show. Both parties wanted to see what level of strength the other party had reached, how talented the humans of the immortal realms were, and how talented the greater demons of the desolate mountains were. Right now, there seemed to be some extraordinary experts among the humans who wanted to challenge the position of the Ying clan, wanting to push them down from their thrones. All right. Ying Zhantian calmly spoke. His name was Ying Zhantian, and the homonym of his name was Ying Zhantian. From this, one could see how high the expectations placed on him were. How could he not accept a mere provocation from the heavens and earth? For the first battle, I will fight. Which of you want to fight me? Jun Mingchen pointed his finger at the air as he spoke. An Empyrean from the Ying clan stepped out, causing the roars of dragons to echo out, shaking the heavens and earth. Jun Mingchen's silhouette flashed as he entered the battle platform of the Emperor's Eye. That expert from the Ying clan stepped out, and with every step he took, the might he exuded grew stronger. Dragon roars rang out from his body, causing his bones and muscles to feel as though they were forged from a true dragon. His body of a divine dragon was unshakable. After he entered the region of the Emperor's Eye, he lifted his hand and grabbed towards Jun Mingchen. His hand was like the sharp claw of a heavenly dragon, boundlessly vast, capable of tearing apart the sky. A mere minor Dao, how embarrassing. Jun Mingchen punched out with his fist, exuding a terrifying might that caused the heavens and earth to tremble. With a thunderous boom, the sharp claw of the heavenly dragon was shattered. That expert from the Ying clan condensed a series of hand seals. Runic light flashed as a true dragon manifested to protect him. Numerous terrifying true dragon shadows appeared around him as the dragon imprints in front of him flashed and blasted out. The dragon imprints transformed into true dragons, capable of annihilating everything as they instantly appeared before Jun Mingchen. So weak. Jun Mingchen roared. His body resembled the body of a divine emperor, shining with a resplendent light as divine energy enveloped him. He was undying and indestructible. No matter how the true dragon tore at him, the light around him protected him from destruction. This was simply shocking. What physique is this? Someone exclaimed. The countenances of those from the Ying clan were all extremely unsightly to behold. Ying Zhantian was extremely calm. Given Jun Mingchen's physique, it was normal for him to be defeated. It was already sufficient for him to win the next mid-stage Immortal King battle. As for the third battle, if he fought, who would be able to contend against him? And as expected, the outcome of the battle was as expected. Jun Mingchen domineeringly defeated his opponent. If it wasn't for that expert from the Ying clan using his divine weapon to flee, he would have been killed on the spot. That expert then left the battle platform in an extremely embarrassed manner. Trash, you can't even withstand a single strike and you still dare to act so high and mighty? If I was you, I would have scrammed down from the platform myself. Jun Mingchen walked out of the platform and spoke with his head held high. Ying Zhantian's expression was cold, gleaming with sharpness. The Grand Era was truly different. Back then in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, there were already many outstanding geniuses. Now, with the invasion of the desolate mountains, the royal demonic beasts were terrifying to the extreme. And now, any random person from the Ying clan had a heaven-shaking physique. Seems like the rumors circulating in the Ying clan weren't groundless. The immortal realms were in chaos. The Golden Era was about to descend. The battle hasn't ended yet. If you guys lose the next two battles, I want to see how arrogant you can be. An immortal king sitting on a throne in the floating palace arrogantly spoke. He was a mid-stage immortal king and stood up, preparing for the next battle. You guys who will fight the second battle. He stood high up in the air, staring down at everyone with an unexcelled attitude. Me. Qin Wentian inclined his head as two bolts of lightning shot out from his eyes. Since you dare to challenge the immortal kings of my Ying clan, I will kill you in this battle. That mid-stage immortal king was extremely old. His aura was incomparably steady, exuding a sense of imposingness. If you kneel and repent now, I can spare your life. That immortal king wanted to show the might of his Ying clan, giving Qin Wentian a chance. Idiot. Qin Wentian spat out. After that he turned and walked up the platform, bathing in the emperor's eyes. In an instant, emperor light shot out from the emperor's eyes, blasting into Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian actually didn't use any strength to resist. He simply stood there, enduring the baptism of the emperor's eyes. His entire body was incomparably resplendent, exuding an unparalleled magnificence. The mid-stage immortal king of the Ying clan was humiliated by the word idiot. He stepped out as 8 true dragons revolved around him, exuding an unparalleled might that could devour the heavens and devour the earth. He domineeringly stepped onto the platform, disregarding everything. Since you are courting death, I will grant you your wish. After speaking, he directly moved towards Qin Wentian. Dragon roars echoed out, terrifying to the extreme. A saber and sword appeared behind Qin Wentian. His left hand wielded a saber while his right hand wielded a sword. He was like his name suggested, the saber-sword immortal king. Lifting his left hand, Qin Wentian slashed out with his saber. There were no fancy techniques, it was a tyrannical strike. As this saber slashed out, the sky changed color as devil might roared. The intent of destruction shook the heavens and earth, causing chaos in the sky. Break! That old immortal king from the Ying clan roared. 8 true dragons rushed out, exuding a shocking pressure. He had been at this cultivation realm for many years, and his combat prowess was extremely high. If not, he wouldn't be the one to fight. The saber and dragons collided, causing chaos in the sky. Qin Wentian stepped out, slashing out with his right hand. A single sword manifested, capable of destroying everything. His sword intent capable of splitting the heavens apart. Puchi. A crisp sound rang out. The space was still in chaos. However, the crowd only saw blood splattering everywhere. The old man's body stiffened in the air. His body trembled as blood flowed from the center of his eyebrows. His body fell towards the battle platform. He had died. This battle was even more clean compared to the earlier one. That mysterious sabersword Immortal King merely used a single slash and sword to kill the peak stage mid-stage Immortal King of the Ying clan. No matter how powerful that Immortal King was, he wasn't able to block the power of a single strike. 2 lightning-fast strikes later he was killed. The experts from the Ying clan all stood up. Their might swept over the area, violent to the extreme. The spectators were all silent, not daring to say anything. The Ying clan was challenged by someone else, and they were defeated miserably. There's no need for the third battle. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. He stared at the experts from the Ying clan. Can you all scram down now? Ying Zhantian stared at Qin Wentian. If it was said that he could see through Jun Mengchen's combat prowess and knew that he had a heaven-defying physique, but for Qin Wentian's combat prowess, he actually couldn't see through Qin Wentian's true combat prowess. Such a person shouldn't be a nameless Immortal King. Sabersword Immortal King. He had never heard of such a character before. Interesting, I don't understand the rules of humans. If I were you guys, I wouldn't be able to endure this. The greater demon from the desolate mountains spoke, as though he was intentionally trying to incite the anger of the Ying clan. I heard that the Ying clan is one of the 3 great ancient clans of the southern region, a supreme power. Even a mid-stage Immortal King was killed on the spot, and was even pointed at by the Ying clan, telling them to scram down. What a humiliation. Everyone has seen the combat prowess of the 2 of them. They are truly very powerful. My Ying clan's defeat isn't unjust. Ying Zhantian was an extraordinary character. He calmly spoke, raising the statuses of Qin Wentian and Jun Mengchen. This way, the Ying clan wouldn't lose too much face. It's just that 2 victories doesn't mean anything. This is especially so in front of the ancient clans. Are you guys sure you really want to sit on my seat? Ying Zhantian changed the topic, staring at Qin Wentian. Why? You guys don't want to admit it? Jun Mengchen coldly spoke. Everyone should be preparing to head to the city of ancient emperors, right? I'm only giving you guys a chance. This seat isn't easy to sit on. Ying Zhantian continued. So much nonsense. Jun Mengchen raged. Are you guys going to scram down or not? Very good. Let's meet again in the city of ancient emperors. Ying Zhantian stood up. Let's go. As the sound of his voice faded, the experts of the Ying clan brought the corpses away. They didn't have the face to continue staying here. The Ying clan was actually chased away from the floating palace by several Immortal Kings. This was truly an extremely shocking matter. Jun Mengchen smiled at Qin Wentian. Brother Saber and sword strength is extraordinary. Please. He was thinking in his heart that the experts of the Heavenly Talisman realm were truly as common as the clouds. This senior brother he didn't know was actually so powerful. Even if the people of the Ying clan leave, when would it be the turn of a mere immortal Qianbian Gate to sit on the throne of the floating sky immortal palace? You guys are still not qualified. An expert on a floating palace coldly spoke, as though he recognized Jun Mengchen as someone from the immortal Qianbian Gate. Chapter 1461. An immortal king from the Heavenly Talisman realm took a step forward. His entire body radiated boundless runic light as he slashed out with his sword. His sword was like a beam of light, faster than lightning, slashing through the air and slamming into the fiery claw. However, the claw didn't explode. Let's see if you can still laugh after entering the city of ancient emperors. Zi Daolong flicked his sleeves. After that, a group of immortal kings from the eastern regions departed as well. How arrogant! These demonic beasts don't even have us in their eyes. An immortal king from the Sunluo Immortal Empire coldly spoke. They had all paid attention to the battle between the Dongshengshan Gate and the immortal Qianbian Gate. They recognized Tuoba Saintsky and knew that these people were from the immortal Qianbian Gate. Those leaders didn't act before, but they are all extraordinary characters at the very peak. Start a war? A supreme greater demon from the desolate mountains coldly laughed. You guys aren't qualified yet. Forget it, there's no need to be calculative with them. If not, others might feel that we are bullying them with numbers. An expert coldly spoke. After that, he glanced at everyone. Let's continue looking at the talents of the participants. If you guys want to prove yourselves, you guys can come to the battle platform of the gods and see how long you guys can last. Sitting on the battle platform isn't simply a test of one's combat prowess. Given your strength, you guys are still not qualified. A peak stage immortal king from the Taihua immortal dynasty calmly spoke. Qin Wentian slashed out with his saber. A devil might capable of suppressing everything gushed forth, shattering the ice around him. The saber light slashed through the air, aiming for the torch dragon but was blocked by its sharp claws. Do you want to start a war? Tuoba Saintsky stepped out, exuding a tyrannical aura. Holy Maiden Namhuang Yunxi actually blushed. He, senior brother Qin, you are truly awesome. Jun Mingchen spoke in admiration. Qin Wentian's face was filled with black lines. Scram. Luckily, if that lass knew it was you, she would surely be extremely happy and want to come and see you. Namhuang Yunxi glanced at Qin Wentian with a hidden bitterness in her eyes, causing Qin Wentian to be unable to bear it. Such a noble beauty looking at him with such a gaze. It was truly mesmerizing. You may leave. He spoke. A moment later, the torch dragon retreated, returning to the side of the greater demon from the desolate mountains. Qin Wentian stared at the experts from the desolate mountains. Each of them exuded an incomparably majestic aura, towering up into the sky. Although they had many experts on their side, it was true that they had no way to contend against these greater demons from the desolate mountains. For underestimating Wuxia of the immortal realms, he will definitely pay the price. A king of the 9 emperors' immortal state arrogantly spoke, exuding a fearsome royal aura. So this is the case. Qin Wentian nodded. They then departed, leaving this ancient emperor palace to others. I purposely came here to take a look, but I didn't see anything. Seems like I can only wait until we enter the city of ancient emperors before I can witness the magnificence of the desolate mountain ranges kings. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. After that he continued. However, why are all the kings of the major powers gathered here? Are they trying to chase me and senior brother Tuobo away? Jun Mingchen sighed. Qin Wentian was speechless, but he also knew that this fellow was joking. He stretched out his sharp claws, directly grabbing towards the location where Qin Wentian and the others were at. His claws transformed into a fiery red, incomparably gigantic, as though the flames of magma were covering his claws, incomparably red as he directly extended his claws towards Qin Wentian and the others. If you want to fight, let's do it on the battle platform. Life and death don't matter. Jun Mingchen took a step forward, pointing to the battle platform. Humiliating my clan, you all deserve death. A roar rang out. An expert from the desolate mountain range stepped out as a supreme demonic might gushed forth. This was a torch dragon, and when it opened its eyes, the sun and moon lost all light, causing the heavens and earth to flicker between light and darkness. As Wuxia of the immortal realms, I naturally can't bear to see demonic beasts bullying my human companions. It's just that now, a storm has gathered in the gazing emperor city. Fairies, please be more careful. The Namhuang clan only has this much strength. I'm afraid it's a little inappropriate. After all, there are many demonic beasts here that don't understand human nature. They are capable of doing anything. Qin Wentian persuaded. At the same time, he added the humiliation of that greater demon. Qin Wentian, Jun Mingchen and the others turned their gazes over. The person who spoke was none other than the son of Zidi, Zidaolong. The few of them were naturally very happy to reunite. Several days later, the experts from the Namhuang clan rushed over. They were preparing to set off for the city of ancient emperors. My mood has already been disturbed, there's no meaning to it anymore. During these few days, I've seen many geniuses from the immortal realms, but they are merely SOSO. It's just that I've only seen a few interesting humans today. I hope that there will be more of such humans in the future. If not, wouldn't it be too lonely in the city of ancient emperors? That demonic king stood up and departed, as though he didn't care about anything else. They returned to an inn, isolated from the outside world. Tuoba Saintsky, Jun Mingchen and Namhuang Yunxi were all here. Qin Wentian revealed his true form, causing the others to be shocked. After that, their eyes lit up. Nam Huang Yunqi smiled at Qin Wentian. You are getting more and more powerful. Even a mid-stage immortal king couldn't block your strength. How despairing. Everyone in the world has gathered. This time around, the city of ancient emperors is going to be lively. The experts all stood up and departed, preparing to enter the city of ancient emperors. Haha, I've already guessed which senior brother would be so extraordinary. Senior brother Qin, you have truly tricked me. Jun Mingchen laughed uproariously. Back then when we were at the celestial phenomenon realm, we fought side by side in the city of ancient emperors. To think that we would be together again now. We will definitely fight until the heavens and earth overturn in the city of ancient emperors. Demonic beasts of the desolate mountains. The immortal king from the shooting sun kingdom coldly laughed. His eyes were like divine arrows, able to pierce through the sky. Haha, Nam Huang Yunqi, don't talk about Shinga. Don't you miss my senior brother Qin as well? Jun Mingchen laughed loudly. Nam Huang Yunqi's eyes flickered as she replied in a light voice, of course not. Tuoba Saintsky's silhouette flashed as he soared up into the air, directly appearing above the floating palace. He sat down on the throne as he coldly glanced at Qin Wentian. This matter is all my fault. I wanted to come to the city of ancient emperors to temper myself. Yet I didn't expect that the situation in the immortal realms has already changed. Demonic beasts are everywhere. I've already informed the Nam Huang clan that there will be other seniors rushing over. Nam Huang Yunqi spoke with some guilt. After she broke through to the immortal king realm, she had always been thinking about tempering herself. Now that the world was in a state of chaos, the city of ancient emperors was a gathering place for her. Hence, she directly came here. So much nonsense. If you want to fight one-on-one, you all can choose your cultivation bases. But if you want to compare strength, which power can stand against the Nam Huang clan? How shameless! Jun Mingchen roared in anger. A powerful might gushed forth from the immortal palace. The immortal kings weren't pushovers, and their auras were extremely terrifying. Qin Wentian walked to the side of Nam Huang Yunqi. He glanced at Nanfeng Shinga, who seemed to have recovered a little, as he asked, Holy Maiden, are you all right? That's true. That old thief Eastern sage actually became a disciple of old devil Duo Tian. Back then, he acted against you on the Demon God Mountain, causing so many people in the central regions to want to kill you. We can't be careless. Jun Mingchen nodded. However, it's enough as long as we know that senior brother is fine. We can still see each other after we enter the city of ancient emperors. Jun Ming, this time around, I'm prepared to travel alone. If not, I might attract too much attention and cause others to guess my identity. Qin Wentian spoke. The expression of the immortal king from the heavenly talisman realm didn't change. He waved his hands and instantly slashed out a myriad of sword attacks. The supreme sword intent slammed into the talisman, causing a thunderous boom to ring out as the talisman was directly destroyed. Back then, the adjudication battle in the immortal realms caused some of the major powers in the eastern regions to form an alliance. And now they actually came to the city of ancient emperors together. Very swiftly, in this ancient palace, only the major powers of humanity remained. Other than this, there were many characters from the peak powers of the eastern regions sitting in the floating palace. The Supreme Sword School, Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, Taihua Immortal Dynasty, and others were all here. It was like they were in an alliance. I will definitely stay longer than you guys. Jun Mingchen impolitely replied. This has something to do with the movements of the desolate mountains. The greater demons of the desolate mountains are invading, and the city of ancient emperors is one of the places they want to head to the most. When this news circulated out, the major powers of the central regions all rushed here, wanting to contend against the demonic kings of the desolate mountains and display their might. If they want to be unrivaled in the righteous path, becoming an unparalleled character, defeating all the geniuses in the world, this is the path they must take. Ice seal. Zhu Long spat out a cold voice. The floating palace was instantly covered in frost, turning it snow white. At the same time, the shadow of a true dragon rushed out and slammed into the floating palace. In an instant, the palace directly shattered into pieces. Countless terrifying attacks of demonic dragons appeared from the ice, and everyone inside was about to be annihilated. I wonder where the immortal Qianbian Gate gets their confidence from. An expert from the Supreme Sword School coldly spoke. MHM. Qin Wentian nodded. He then turned to Namhuang Yunxi and asked, Yunxi, how is Shunga? They all left just like that? How boring. I still want to see the talent of these lofty characters, and see how long they can last under the Emperor's eye. Seems like they all have their misgivings, afraid that if they can last too long, they would be mocked by others. Jun Mengchen laughed. Qin Wentian, Namhuang Yunxi and the others all flew into the floating palace, as though they were smacking Zi Daolong's face. If we don't have the qualifications, do you want to go up and test it out with me? Tuoba Saint Sky inclined his head and stared at Zi Daolong, declaring war with just a single word of disagreement. This caused Zi Daolong's eyes to flash, feeling some trepidation towards Tuoba Saint Sky. Back then during the final battle, Tuoba Saint Sky was one of the most dazzling characters of the immortal Qianbian Gate. He was in existence at the peak stage of the immortal King realm, and absolutely not to be underestimated. Boom. As the sound of his voice faded, a violent wave of demonic qi gushed over. This was none other than the demonic might unleashed by the greater demon that injured Namfeng Xinga earlier. After that, the experts from the heavenly talisman realm, including Jun Mengchen, all flew up into the air. Jun Mengchen then spoke, Brother Sabersword, fairies of the Southern Phoenix clan, please come up. Let's go. We are preparing to enter the city of ancient emperors that humans hold in high regard. In the floating palace, the greater demons of the desolate mountains all coldly laughed as they stood up and departed. It was like they didn't place the human Wuxia in their eyes at all. I'm fine, many thanks for Senior Sabersword Immortal King's concern. Nanfeng Xinga smiled. Her smile was as gentle and beautiful as ever. Chapter 1462. The Eastern Sea was boundlessly vast, and it was a place one had to pass by in order to reach the city of ancient emperors. At this moment on the east coast, Qin Wentian and the others appeared. In the vast East Sea of the Demon King. It's rumored that only immortal kings and emperors would be able to traverse the eastern seas and enter the city of ancient emperors. The last time I came here, I was sent here. This time around, I wonder what I would encounter in the city of ancient emperors. Jun Mengchen spoke in a low voice. After that, he stepped out and flew towards the boundless eastern seas. Qin Wentian and the others stepped forward one after another, followed by Namhuang Yunxi and the other mighty ones of the Namhuang clan, moving forward in the sky above the East Sea. It's rumored that the city of ancient emperors is an independent space located within the eastern seas. If one flies in the air, they wouldn't be able to see the city of ancient emperors. Senior sister, you've been here before. Do you know the exact situation? An expert from the Namhuang clan asked the peak stage immortal king senior sister beside him. The eastern sea has a spirit and is guarded by the demonic monarch. There will be an independent passageway for emperors to enter. After Namhuang Yunxi informed the Namhuang clan, a group of holy maidens from the Southern Phoenix clan rushed over to the city of ancient emperors to take a look. As they spoke, they whistled through the sky above the eastern sea. As they went deeper into the eastern sea, the waves engulfed the world, becoming more and more berserk. They rose hundreds of miles, terrifying to the extreme. There's someone here. It's an expert from the desolate land. At this moment, they stared in another direction. A group of experts were riding on a sun war chariot. The sun war chariot was incomparably resplendent and was forged from gold. The flames of the sun evaporated the waves as it rode the wind and broke through the waves, appearing extremely tyrannical. At this moment, the person on the other side also sensed something and glanced at them from afar. His flaming eyes pierced through the void like the eyes of the sun. In an instant, it made Qin Wentian and the others feel as if they were in the middle of a raging sun. It was extremely terrifying. It's an expert from the Sun Gold race. It's an extremely powerful royal race that was born from the fusion of the Sun God Bird, Golden Crow, and the Sun Gold race. Qin Wentian's eyes could see through all illusions. He could see through the other party's true form. Very strong. The holy maiden of the Namhuang clan spoke. The desolate mountains swept unhindered, tyrannical and tyrannical. They had the support of powerful experts. Those royal greater demons were truly terrifying, comparable to the peak powers of the immortal realms. The sun chariot sped up and tore through the void, gradually disappearing at an astonishing speed. I'm filled with anticipation. This time around, I wonder how many kings and kings from the various peak powers would appear in the city of ancient emperors. Jun Mingchen was extremely excited. We have to be more careful when we arrive at the city of ancient emperors. Regardless of the peak powers of the various regions or the royal clans of the desolate mountains, none of them are people we can afford to antagonize. In this chaotic era, killing would be even more direct, and there would be no rules. A holy maiden reminded, I know. Given my strength in the third level of the city of ancient emperors, I should be considered one of the weaker ones. I will naturally pay attention to my own safety when I fight for supremacy. Jun Mingchen understood the kind intentions of the holy maiden. He nodded. The group continued moving forward and finally arrived at the area of the destructive storm. In this area, darkness shrouded the eastern sea, and there were pitch-black destructive light wreaking havoc. Dark clouds covered the sky, and terrifying lightning energy shot out from within, destroying everything. Everyone's law energy circulated around their bodies. Their body of law was incomparably tyrannical, protecting their bodies from the violent attacks. We're almost there. Jun Mingchen's eyes flashed. Back then, the Emperor Qianbian sent him and Qin Wentian into this area. After that, the Black Dragon appeared and sent them into the city of ancient emperors. Boom! A terrifying bolt of destructive lightning blasted into them, causing their bodies to tremble. Indeed, if one wasn't an immortal king, they would die without a doubt if they entered this area. Only immortal kings and emperors could enter the city of ancient emperors. If juniors wanted to enter, they had to be escorted by an immortal king. Hence, even those in the first level of the city of ancient emperors were all descendants of immortal kings and emperors, possessing extraordinary statuses. Qin Wentian stared at the black mountain peak that stretched from the sea all the way up to the skies. Back then, he had once seen someone sitting on top of the mountain peak cultivating, borrowing the terrifying energy to temper his body. This cultivation method was extremely violent and direct, using the method of enduring attacks to strengthen his body. Rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. Namhuang Yunxi's cultivation base was slightly weaker. Her body was actually a little unstable. The peak stage immortal king Holy Maiden beside her acted as her protector. Qin Wentian could also sense how terrifying this energy was. Ordinary immortal kings might not even be able to enter this place. Senior Holy Maiden. Back then the Dragon Emperor was the one who brought me in. How did immortal kings and emperors enter? Jun Mingchen asked. After exiting this area, there will be an ancient pathway of laws leading to the city of ancient emperors. The holy maiden who came here before replied. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. You guys go ahead first. I will cultivate here for a period of time before entering the city of ancient emperors. Namhuang Yunxi stared at Qin Wentian. This area is extremely dangerous. Even if your cultivation base is high, the destructive energy here might pose a threat to you. In Namhuang Yunxi's eyes, there was a trace of concern. She was very worried about Qin Wentian. This caused the other holy maidens of the Namhuang clan to feel surprised. Don't worry, this energy can't do anything to me. You guys go ahead first. Fairies, please be more careful after entering the city of ancient emperors. Qin Wentian spoke. After that, he stepped out, moving towards the Black Mountain Peak. Namhuang Yunxi started. She knew that she had no way to persuade Qin Wentian. This fellow was actually cultivating here. Senior brother Qin, you have to be more careful. We will leave first. Jun Mingchen transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. Only he and a few others knew of Qin Wentian's identity. You too. Qin Wentian replied. Jun Mingchen and the others continued ahead, vanishing into the gray tempest. Qin Wentian came to the peak of the Black Mountain and sat down cross-legged. He actually began to gradually dispel the law energy around him. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out. The destructive tempest slammed into him. Qin Wentian groaned in misery as his body trembled violently. He closed his eyes as a holy will radiated from him. In an instant, golden runic light enveloped him as the Vajra holy will appeared. The boundless runes were like ancient characters of the Buddhist path, circulating around his body. The destructive tempest frenziedly ravaged Qin Wentian's body. After each strike, the holy will would cleanse Qin Wentian's body, tempering it, causing his body to glow with a golden luster. When he was in the eastern tomb, Qin Wentian had comprehended 3 types of holy will. The sword holy will that was as soft as a willow leaf, yet it contained an indomitable might. The pagoda holy will that could suppress the heavens and earth, and the Vajra holy will. The first 2 were attack-type holy wills. Qin Wentian comprehended them faster. As for the Vajra holy will, he spent the longest time comprehending it. It was a body-refining holy will. Back then, he killed several immortal kings from the Vajra sect and plundered their treasures. He knew that this holy will could be used to refine an indestructible body of the Buddhist path. In the Grey Tempest, destructive energy frenziedly blasted into Qin Wentian. He didn't borrow the power of law energy to protect himself. He only focused on tempering his indestructible body. A bolt of black lightning blasted down from the top of his head, penetrating through his body. Qin Wentian groaned in misery as he coughed out a mouthful of blood. However, he still remained in the lotus position. His body shone with an even more resplendent runic light, as the golden glow around him grew even more intense. Several days later, Qin Wentian endured the boundless attacks. The golden runic light on his body was akin to a gigantic net, causing his physique to be terrifying to the extreme. He was able to withstand the destructive might of the attacks, and the light circulating around his body would negate the impact of the attacks. Strands of Vajra holy will circulated around him. Gradually, Qin Wentian, who was sitting there, actually exuded a sense of majesty, resembling an esteemed monk of the Buddhist path. Such a body refinement method was extremely direct and violent. Several months later, Qin Wentian's body radiated boundless golden light, illuminating the entire sky. A formless body of Vajra manifested, allowing the violent attacks to land on his body. The Vajra holy will seem to have become a part of his body. Qin Wentian opened his eyes, shining with a resplendent golden light. He stood up, exuding a divine glow. His body resembled a Vajra ancient Buddha, and there were runic formations all around him. My physique is getting more and more perfect. Right now, my body is like a Vajra, able to withstand extremely powerful attacks. Qin Wentian mumbled. After that, his silhouette flashed as he left the black mountain peak and continued forward. At this moment, he didn't use any law energy, allowing the violent attacks to land on his body. He had no reaction at all. Qin Wentian continued forward and finally, he saw a ray of light. An ancient pathway of laws appeared in the chaotic region, traversing through space and leading to the city of ancient emperors. Back then, when Qin Wentian entered the city of ancient emperors, he already knew that there were 3 levels of space here. Different cultivation bases would lead to different levels of space. With no hesitation, Qin Wentian directly stepped into the ancient pathway of laws. As he continued forward, spatial fluctuations gushed forth. As Qin Wentian continued forward, he felt himself shuttling through space. Finally, an intense surge of law energy descended upon him. With a single step, he exited the ancient pathway of laws. In the next instant, Qin Wentian floated in the air. With a single step, he directly entered the city of ancient emperors. Boom! A terrifying surge of law energy blasted over, forcing Qin Wentian back. His eyes flashed as he stared ahead, his expression instantly froze. Before him, 2 incomparably powerful figures could be seen. Both of them were tens of thousands of meters tall. One was a human, and the other was a demon. The demon transformed into its true form. It was a silver-colored gigantic ape that gleamed with silvery light. When it roared, it would shake the heavens and earth. And when it attacked, it would cause the heavens and earth to shatter. Fighting against it was a similarly gigantic giant that resembled the king of hell. His body blazed with inextinguishable flames as his law domain enveloped the entire space. That should be an expert from the Senluo Immortal Empire in the central regions. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. He glanced in another direction, and saw that there was also an intense battle between immortal kings. A golden-colored great rock was as fast as lightning. His wings slashed out with boundless might, akin to a phantom. His opponent was an expert wielding a divine arrow, his entire body glowing with a divine glow. The arrow pierced through the air, piercing through everything, aiming for the body of the golden rock. No matter how fast the golden rock was, it was useless. That divine arrow could lock onto him, and the golden rock could only use brute force to shatter it. A golden rock of the rock race, shooting sun empires and Parians. Qin Wentian glanced at this space. There were many spectators here. His silhouette flashed as he descended from the air, and came to the side of a female immortal king. He then asked, "What's going on? You just entered the city of ancient emperors through the ancient path of laws, right?" The female immortal king glanced at Qin Wentian and smiled. Right now in the city of ancient emperors, it's unknown how many battles like this would occur every day. Experts are as common as clouds, geniuses gather here. Geniuses at the same cultivation level are all fighting for supremacy. And if there's an unrivaled character who can become an ancient emperor, ordinary immortal kings can only be spectators. Chapter 1463. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. The competition in the city of ancient emperors was actually so intense. He naturally understood that this place wasn't the first place he came to. Although they were both in the city of ancient emperors, they weren't in the same level. This place might be the third level, a place where immortal kings could enter. At this moment, Qin Wentian discovered another phenomenon. The immortal kings here all had faint traces of emperor light behind their backs. As for the four immortal kings fighting in the air, the emperor light behind them was even denser, radiating resplendent multicolored light that was extremely dazzling, resembling divine light. Emperor's fate. The female immortal king had a look of fascination on her face. From ancient times until now, how many immortal kings and emperors have come to the city of ancient emperors? Why did they come here? Emperor's fate is something unique to the third level of the city of ancient emperors. The more dazzling one is, the more Emperor's fate would be. When Emperor's fate is condensed, it can open a secret realm in the city of ancient emperors. It's rumored that many supreme innate techniques and techniques of the immortal emperors originated from the city of ancient emperors. And now, with the appearance of the Tiandao Sacred Academy and the appearance of the Demon God Mountain, a new era has arrived. All the rare ultimate arts should appear one after another. The female immortal king's eyes gleamed brightly. Enjoy it well. This era will definitely not disappoint you. This will be an era where ordinary immortal kings are like ants. This will also be an era where supreme geniuses will shine brightly. Right now, does the entire immortal realms feel that a new era is about to arrive? Qin Wentian mumbled. Naturally, compared to the era of ancient emperors countless years ago, the immortal realms have been silent for many years. The appearance of the heavenly Tao Sacred Academy itself is a kind of omen. Now, with the appearance of the Demon God Mountain, even the current city of ancient emperors has undergone an indescribable transformation. In fact, this transformation is still growing in intensity. Right now, there are already many people saying that the city of ancient emperors has sensed the arrival of so many experts, and that the prelude to the grand era is about to begin. Even the city of ancient emperors has undergone a transformation? Qin Wentian's heart trembled. Seems like this transformation has truly engulfed the entire immortal realms. Thank you for telling me. Qin Wentian cupped one hand in the other before his chest and thanked him. You're welcome. Even if I don't say it, you will soon find out. It's just a slight effort on my part. Naturally, if we have to fight in the future, I won't be polite. The beautiful eyes of the female immortal king flashed with a smile. Qin Wentian nodded. Naturally. At this moment, a great battle had just ended in the air. Shooting Sun Kingdom's expert had unleashed a barrage of divine arrows, causing the golden rock to fall and gravely injure him. Qin Wentian could see that the emperor's fate behind him had grown brighter, while the golden rocks had weakened considerably. One was flourishing while the other was declining. First, let's take the scepter and control the god. Qin Wentian silently mused. After that, he bid farewell to the female immortal king and departed. Back then when he left the city of ancient emperors, He had a connection with that place. The black dragon told him that after his cultivation base grew stronger, he would come back here to take the scepter. This time around, he came to the city of ancient emperors because he wanted to obtain the scepter that no other geniuses in the third level could obtain. Qin Wentian had no distractions in his heart as he sped towards a certain direction. On his way there, he saw countless geniuses contending against each other. Kings fought against each other, causing the sky to change color as the space around them was in chaos. There were also experts with unparalleled amounts of emperor's fate behind them, incomparably resplendent and extremely powerful. He also saw some secret realms. On top of a towering stone pillar, an expert with an exuberant amount of emperor's fate could be seen sitting cross-legged, as though he had obtained some sort of mysterious inheritance. In a radius of 100 miles, no one could enter. The surroundings of the towering stone pillar were filled with terrifying calamitous light, destroying everything that came near it. All sorts of wondrous sceneries appeared before his eyes. Qin Wentian could sense how extraordinary this level of the city of ancient emperors was. After many days, he arrived at a desolate place. The antiquity city floated in the air, surrounded by experts as many as the clouds. There were even greater demons flying in the air, circling around the antiquity city, yet they had no way to enter. It's closed. Why is the ancient pathway closed? Someone spoke with reluctance. That person was incomparably dazzling, with a resplendent divine glow above his head and emperor's fate behind him. Yet he still couldn't enter. Sighing, his silhouette flashed as he departed in disappointment. However, there were still many experts waiting for him. They were filled with reluctance. Back then when they came here, they all had a chance to enter the ancient pathway. But now it was closed. Senior Black Dragon once promised me that the palace would be closed. Seems like he didn't lie to me. Qin Wentian silently mused. He continued forward, heading towards the ancient pathway. There's no need to go any further. The ancient pathway is closed, no one can enter. An expert calmly spoke. Qin Wentian continued forward. That expert had a cold smile on his face. After that, Qin Wentian stepped onto the ancient pathway. At this instant, a resplendent light flashed as the pathway opened up. Qin Wentian continued forward, unobstructed. The eyes of the experts in the surroundings gleamed with sharpness as they stared at Qin Wentian. How can this be? Why can he enter? Someone asked, rushing into the pathway. However, the pathway was closed, not allowing them to enter. Who is he? Numerous sharp gazes stared at Qin Wentian, only to see him directly walking towards the entrance of the Antiquities City. No one knew that Qin Wentian entered the Antiquities City again, directly entering the godhood. He stared at the scepter with a fiery gaze. You have come. A voice rang out. Resplendent light flashed as the black dragon appeared. Senior, I should have the qualifications to hold the scepter now, right? Qin Wentian asked. Just like what I said back then. I closed the godhood and have been waiting for you for a long time. The black dragon calmly replied. Qin Wentian bowed slightly. Many thanks, Senior. Don't be in a hurry to thank me. I waited for you because I promised you back then. However, there's one more thing I need to explain to you. You temporarily cannot take away this scepter, the black dragon said. Why? Qin Wentian asked in bewilderment. Right now, I'm already an immortal king. Am I still not qualified? That's not the case. According to the situation back then, the current you is already qualified. But now, the black dragon slowly spoke. His eyes gleamed with a dazzling light as the scepter glowed with a terrifying luster. In an instant, Qin Wentian only felt the connection between him and the scepter being forcibly erased. This caused his expression to change, becoming extremely unsightly to behold. Senior, what do you mean by this? What's the difference now? Qin Wentian furrowed his brows as he asked. You should also know that the winds and clouds in the outside world are changing. Right now the era is different and the rules have changed. Everything will have to start anew. If you want to obtain the scepter again, you have to start anew. The black dragon calmly spoke. Fight your way in from outside the palace and pass through the ancient pathway? Qin Wentian asked. That's not the case. Fight against the geniuses in the city of ancient emperors. When you are qualified enough, you will naturally understand. The Black Dragon replied. Junior still doesn't understand. Back then, I already obtained it and Senior has already promised me. Why did the rules change just like that? Qin Wentian asked, feeling extremely unhappy in his heart. You can't even understand when you were outside? Now that the sky has changed, the rules naturally have to change as well. In the 3 levels of the City of Ancient Emperors, there were many who didn't manage to enter the ancient pathway. Because your cultivation base was weaker, you had the advantage and succeeded. But now things are different. The rules in the City of Ancient Emperors have changed and supreme demon-level geniuses will be born. Hence, you have to start anew and fight against them. The Black Dragon slowly spoke. Naturally, you have an extraordinary bloodline and broke through to the Immortal King realm in such a short period of time. Your talent is outstanding and your chances are very high. It's just that you have to fight for the qualifications again. Back then, I passed through so many dangers and even risked my life to obtain the inheritance. Senior actually wants me to start anew? As for the inheritance, shouldn't it belong to me the moment I obtain it? I still don't understand. What exactly is this scepter? Senior wants to overturn the rules? Qin Wentian's voice was cold. Back then, it wasn't easy for him to barge into the Antiquity City. Although he said he wanted to start anew, the truth was that Qin Wentian was canceling his qualifications to obtain the inheritance back then. Who wouldn't be angry? Why are you so stubborn? The Black Dragon was also unhappy when he heard Qin Wentian's words. The era is different and supreme demon-level geniuses will be born. If you are confident, why don't you start anew? I understand. Senior thinks that although my talent is good, there might be supreme geniuses in this era who might surpass me. Hence, you want me to cancel the inheritance and fight for it again? Qin Wentian directly spoke. Putting it bluntly, this should be what he meant. Precisely so. The Black Dragon nodded and straightforwardly replied. Junior, can I ask what exactly is this scepter for Senior to act like this? Back then, did the ancient emperors really descend only for this scepter? Qin Wentian asked. This scepter is related to the inheritance of Tao elements and isn't the inheritance of this world. Hence, I made this decision after careful consideration. As for the rumors, you can trust them, but you can't completely believe them. You can leave now, the Black Dragon said. All right, Junior bids his farewell. Senior, please send me out. Qin Wentian calmed down at this moment. The Black Dragon exhaled. In an instant, Qin Wentian only felt a surge of law energy enveloping him. In the next instant, he was sent out of the Antiquity City, back to the outside of the city. He came out. The gazes of many people turned to Qin Wentian with astonishment in their eyes. What happened to this fellow? The ancient pathway has reopened. At this moment, another exclamation rang out. However, Qin Wentian acted as though he didn't see it. He didn't step on the ancient pathway anymore. He turned and directly departed the area with his back facing the Antiquity City, not giving it a second glance. God's scepters. Were they the inheritances of Tao elements? It wasn't an inheritance from this world. This meant that the City of Ancient Emperors contained secrets from other immortal realms. This inheritance might have originated from the other immortal realms, and came here to search for a successor. No wonder the ruins of ancient emperors could be found here. In fact, there was even a war here. Seems like the City of Ancient Emperors had a great secret. But even so what of it? Just because it was a Tao element from another immortal realm, could it be discarded and his qualifications to enter the City of Ancient Emperors be revoked? Since this was the case, there was no need for him to give up on it. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the air. This City of Ancient Emperors was filled with secrets. He came here for the scepter, but he didn't expect that the ending would be like this. Was it because the era was different? Could it be that in this era, it was impossible for him to ascend to the peak? Chapter 1464. Qin Wentian didn't even bother to turn his head back, wanting to leave this place. Sir, please wait a moment. At this moment, a voice drifted over from behind. An expert appeared, blocking Qin Wentian's path with a single step. Is there a problem? Qin Wentian frowned as his expression turned cold. He was in an extremely bad mood. Yet this person was so rude, directly blocking his path. I wish to ask, sir, why were you able to enter that palace earlier? What was inside? Could it be that sir obtained some inheritance? That expert asked, filled with curiosity towards Qin Wentian. Not only for him, there were several other experts behind Qin Wentian, all of them waiting for Qin Wentian's reply. No comment, please step aside. Qin Wentian continued moving forward, wanting to bypass the other party's body. However, that person's silhouette flickered, continuing to block Qin Wentian's path as he spoke. Sir, please speak clearly. That's right, we are all very curious as well. Behind him, an expert spoke. They were all thinking, did Qin Wentian obtain something inside? It was rumored that this palace that resembled the antiquity city was a place of inheritance. Many immortal emperors had once come here for it, and some of them even fell into it. Right now, Qin Wentian could come and go as he pleased, entering and exiting as he pleased. They naturally had to find out more. I'm sorry, I'm unable to satisfy everyone's curiosity. Qin Wentian continued forward. The aura of the person blocking him surged ferociously. He was at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm, and was like a desolate primordial beast, staring at Qin Wentian. Upon seeing this scene, a cold light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. Instantly, an incomparably resplendent runic light radiated from his body. Golden light enveloped his entire body, akin to a diamond formation. Stepping out, he completely disregarded his opponent and directly stepped forth. Refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, the man snorted coldly and shouted. He raised his hand and blasted out a beast seal towards Qin Wentian. Rumble, that terrifying attack slammed into Qin Wentian. Yet it didn't affect Qin Wentian in the slightest. After that, Qin Wentian unsheathed his sword and slashed out, causing the heavens and earth to split apart. Poochie, that person was directly sliced into two. Qin Wentian didn't pause at all as he continued walking forward. The experts behind him froze in their tracks, staring at this scene in astonishment as their hearts surged wildly. Behind Qin Wentian, a strand of Emperor's fate appeared. Although it was weak, it was still enveloped by a multicolored light, making him seem even more extraordinary. There were no fluctuations in his expression as he continued forward, preparing to return to the central region of the City of Ancient Emperors. He didn't know how many secrets there were in the City of Ancient Emperors. He also didn't know what the Ancient Emperors were fighting for exactly. He also didn't know what the Tao elements outside the immortal realms were. However, since the Black Dragon wanted him to start all over again, breaking his promise, he would walk a path that belonged to him alone in the City of Ancient Emperors. Today, the inheritance had abandoned him. In the future, when he reached the peak and the inheritance was placed before him, he would discard it like it was a pair of shoes. Stepping in the air, Qin Wentian's steps were incomparably resolute. As he continued forward, there were still battles erupting in the City of Ancient Emperors. Occasionally, there would be beams of resplendent light descending from the sky, like treasures from the heavens. At this moment, Qin Wentian halted his steps. He inclined his head and stared at the sky. Over there was a supreme immortal king fighting against several immortal king-level greater demons from the desolate mountains. The scene was incomparably transcendent, and there were many immortal kings spectating from the surroundings. The crown prince of the Taihua immortal dynasty is truly extraordinary. His emperor's fate is boundless, illuminating the sky. Hua Yunxing's cultivation base is at the initial phase of the peak stage of the Immortal King realm. He has an innate Immortal King physique that only appears once every 10,000 years. His Emperor's seal is unparalleled. Even 3 greater demons from the desolate mountains were suppressed by him. He's simply too powerful. Truly powerful. Given his talent, he might even have the potential to contend for the position of an ancient emperor. Someone spoke. As they spoke, the emperor's fate behind Hua Yunxing grew even more resplendent, as though it was growing stronger. Qin Wentian glanced at it as a strange light flashed in his eyes. This person hasn't even won yet. He merely gained the recognition and respect of others. Could his emperor's fate also grow stronger? Very swiftly, Hua Yunxing blasted out an ancient killing imprint, penetrating through the body of a greater demon. In that instant, the emperor's fate behind Hua Yunxing grew even stronger, as though it had proven Qin Wentian's conjecture in his heart. Strength in combat could give birth to emperor's fate. Gaining the worship of others could also increase emperor's fate. How miraculous! Crown Prince Yunxing was born extraordinary and has extraordinary talent. He's an innate king and can condense thousands of ancient imprints to attack at the same time, transforming them into 1,000-layered waves. Although these 3 demonic beasts are powerful, how can they be a match for the Crown Prince? They will definitely be killed. An expert from the Taihua Immortal Dynasty spoke arrogantly, helping Hua Yunxing to gain the faith of others. Rumble. At this moment, a sun descended from the sky. In an instant, the entire battlefield was enveloped by the law energy of the sun. Flames capable of incinerating everything descended, causing Hua Yunxing's eyes to flash. He gave up fighting against the 2 greater demons. He inclined his head and stared at the sky as he coldly spoke. Where did these demonic beasts come from? As the sound of his voice faded, a golden sun chariot emerged from the sun in the sky. A young man clad in golden sun armor sat within. His eyes were like flames, directly enveloping Hua Yunxing as he calmly spoke, "Retreat." As the sound of his voice faded, the 2 surviving greater demons obediently retreated to the side. Hua Yunxing's body flickered with imprints as he unleashed a powerful attack towards the sky, exuding boundless might. However, at the same time, numerous golden sun spears shot out from the golden sun chariot, directly colliding with the imprints, shattering them. The golden chariot continued moving forward, descending from the sun. The terrifying sunlight enveloped Hua Yunxing. The young man in the chariot stood up and stepped out, directly bringing the sun with him as he appeared before Hua Yunxing. The sun spear stabbed out, causing space to distort as it penetrated through everything. Hua Yunxing roared in rage, blasting out 10,000 imprints. However, the young man's attack contained a heaven-shaking might, capable of penetrating through everything, incinerating everything. The sun spear directly broke apart the attack and penetrated through Hua Yunxing's head, directly killing him. There was no hesitation at all. Even if his opponent was the crown prince of the Taihua Immortal Dynasty. The hearts of everyone pounded madly. After that, the young man turned and returned to the chariot. His eyes coldly glanced downwards as the emperor's fate behind him was as resplendent as the sun. After that, the golden sun chariot left this place. Even though he was leaving, the emperor's fate behind him was still growing. It's him, one of those who stand at the absolute peak of the immortal king realm. The hearts of everyone trembled. In the city of ancient emperors, emperors had their own emperor's Tao. Kings had their own king's Tao. Among the immortal kings, there were some extremely dazzling characters. Not long after they arrived, their names shook the entire city of ancient emperors, harvesting emperor's fate. Nobody could compare to them. Among them, one of them was an expert from the Sun Gold race. Harvesting emperor's fate was like taking something out of their pockets, extremely easy. Just like now, this domineering attack killed the crown prince of the Taihua Immortal Dynasty, harvesting a lot of emperor's fate. These people were too ruthless, too tyrannical, and naturally too powerful. Qin Wentian glanced at the departing golden war chariot. Before this, outside the city of ancient emperors, he personally saw many experts from the Gold Sun race descending. But now, there was only one person from the Taihua Immortal Dynasty. Clearly, after entering the city of ancient emperors, this person acted alone, sweeping through everything. At this moment, numerous experts sped over. Among them, the experts from the Taihua Immortal Dynasty were the most numerous. Their countenances were all ashen, incomparably unsightly to behold. Crown Prince Yunxing was killed. Other than this, there were also some allies from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, the Supreme Sword School, and many others. I didn't expect to encounter such a person here. Crown Prince Yunxing is unfortunate. Everyone, my condolences. An expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom consoled. That person is extremely powerful, launching a sneak attack. It's not that the Crown Prince's strength is weak, it's just that the opponent's combat prowess is extremely high. However, this time around there are many experts from the Taihua Immortal Dynasty, including the Crown Prince. If there's a chance, we will definitely seek revenge from the Gold Sun race. The greater demons of the desolate mountains are too tyrannical. My Supreme Sword School won't sit by and watch. This time around, there are several peak stage immortal kings from my sect, including those at the peak. Even if we encounter that person, we can fight him and take revenge for Crown Prince Yunxing in the future. Also, there's Crown Prince Wushuang of my Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. If there's a chance, we will take revenge for Crown Prince Yunxing. Everyone consoled the people from the Taihua Immortal Dynasty, while not forgetting to praise themselves. Let's go. All the experts are gathered at Zi Daolong's side. After he slays the devilish cultivators, he will hunt for the greater demons of the desolate mountains. Below, when Qin Wentian heard the arrogant words of these mid-stage and initial-stage immortal kings, he couldn't help but to laugh as he continued on his way. After being killed, they actually dared to speak so eloquently. How ridiculous! Nichem? The senses of immortal kings were extremely sharp. When an expert heard the laughter, he turned his gaze over and saw Qin Wentian. A moment later, his eyes gleamed with killing intent as he roared, "It's you! Stop right there!" Numerous gazes turned over, staring at Qin Wentian. After that, all of them recognized him. It was actually the Sabersword Immortal King whom they met in the Gazing Emperor City. Back then, this man was also extremely tyrannical, not putting them in his eyes at all. Qin Wentian ignored him and continued walking forward. But at this moment, a sword intent directly slashed over. Qin Wentian lifted his hand and shattered it. After that, he abruptly turned as his eyes gleamed with coldness. "Before this, you were too arrogant. Since we met here, there's no need for you to leave." An expert walked towards Qin Wentian, killing intent flashing in his eyes. "Kill him." The eyes of the Immortal King from the Taihua Immortal Dynasty flashed with anger, as though he was venting his anger on the Golden War Chariot. They had the advantage in numbers, and there were quite a number of immortal kings among them. Killing Qin Wentian naturally wouldn't be a problem. The Immortal King from the Supreme Sword School pointed out with both his hands. A moment later, 10,000 swords shot out, causing the starry space to dim. "You don't dare to chase after others and dare to spout such arrogant words here. Now you actually want to kill me to vent your anger?" Qin Wentian coldly spoke. He soared into the air and similarly slashed out with his sword, penetrating through everything. A supreme sword light slashed down with irresistible force, destroying everything in its path. With a piercing sound, his opponent was cleaved into two, completely annihilated. Qin Wentian showed no mercy. Qin Wentian continued forward. His body was like a great rock, swift to the extreme as he slashed out with another sword strike. This sword strike seemed to manifest an illusory realm as a supreme sword intent descended, capable of destroying everything. Another swishing sound rang out as blood splattered through the air. Another immortal king from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom was slain. "Since you all think you are extraordinary, I will give you a chance to prove yourselves." Qin Wentian stepped out as he coldly spoke. His killing intent towered up into the sky, causing the hearts of all the immortal kings in the surroundings to tremble. Chapter 1465. Qin Wentian had nowhere to vent the anger in his heart. The people from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom and the Supreme Sword School had already formed a death grudge with him. Now that they actually offended him, how could he not unleash a massacre? Since the Black Dragon said that the era was different and there were countless geniuses in the city of ancient emperors, he might as well use his identity as the Sabersword Immortal King to fight a grand battle. Kill him. The Supreme Sword School and Tenlon Heaven Kingdom instantly surrounded Qin Wentian. Their auras soared into the sky as different law domains manifested. In an instant, the sky around Qin Wentian changed. The sun and moon dimmed as destructive swords slashed down from the starry space, wanting to annihilate everything. Qin Wentian felt like he was in the midst of doomsday. Boundless runic light radiated from Qin Wentian. The Vajra Holy will refined his body, causing his physique to be unparalleled. With a slash of his saber and sword, He manifested a demonic dragon that shattered the heavens and earth. Many experts blasted at him, yet they couldn't destroy him. What physique does he have? Why is his defense so strong? Everyone mused. The hearts of those immortal kings trembled. His saber slashed out, akin to a bolt of lightning, aiming for an immortal king. That immortal king roared as a fearsome sword formation manifested around him. However, Qin Wentian merely grabbed out with his palm as a suppressive might bore down on him, causing the sword formation to be restricted. Slash! The saber slashed out, transforming into a vermilion bird that destroyed his opponent. The sword in his right hand sliced through the air once more, containing a supreme sword intent that could sever mountains and rivers. A mid-stage immortal king was cleaved into two. The short battle caused great waves of shock to rise in the hearts of the surrounding immortal kings. Wasn't this combat prowess too terrifying? The emperor's fate behind Qin Wentian grew increasingly resplendent. Wielding a sword and saber with both hands, he exuded magnificence through the generations as he stood in the center of the surrounding immortal kings. It was like he had an indestructible divine body. No attacks could break through his defense. Every time he slashed out, there would definitely be deaths. In the blink of an eye, those immortal kings surrounding him were all killed miserably. The hearts of the remaining immortal kings trembled as they spoke. Let's go. As soon as he finished speaking, several immortal kings were killed to the point that they didn't dare to continue fighting, and prepared to flee. Qin Wentian directly slashed out with his sword towards the first person who turned to flee. A sword intent that seemed to originate from the primordial times descended from the heavens. That person's body instantly stiffened in the air as he died slain. Have you gone mad? You actually dared to kill people from our peak powers like this? An immortal king roared in rage. Qin Wentian's expression was indifferent and emotionless. He slashed out with his sword again, and a sword mark appeared on the forehead of the person who spoke. It went all the way down and was destroyed. These people were laughable. They had wanted to kill him before, and now they were saying that they dared to kill people from his top forces? You will definitely die without a burial ground. Only one person remained. He cursed, staring at Qin Wentian with a gaze like he was looking at a devil. This man was simply a god of death. He had no scruples at all. In his eyes, there was only killing intent. Pucci. A light sound rang out. Mercilessly he was slain. The immortal kings from the Supreme Sword School, Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, Taihua Immortal Dynasty and the other peak powers were all killed. Not a single one was left alive. This was simply too shocking. Madness. Everyone stared at the silhouette wielding the sword and saber. They didn't expect that there would be someone so crazy. Although the other party wanted to kill him, to kill so many people without any scruples, simply disregarding the consequences. This was simply too crazy. In the past, in the city of ancient emperors, everyone would show mercy when they fought. This was especially so when they were facing experts from the peak powers. They wouldn't dare to go too far. But now, that immortal king from the Sun Gold race drove the Golden Sun chariot here, and directly killed the crown prince of the Taihua Immortal Dynasty. And now, a passerby saber-sword immortal king actually killed immortal kings from the peak powers. Such a scene was simply too crazy. Immortal kings were like weeds. Their corpses littered the ground. Behind Qin Wentian, Emperor's fate radiated brilliantly. He swept his gaze over the surroundings. There were so many immortal kings here, but none of them dared to match his gaze. His silhouette flashed as he started to clean up the battlefield. After killing so many immortal kings, they would surely have many treasures on them. He mustn't waste them. How ruthless. The Supreme Sword School and the other peak powers are about to cough up blood. Someone silently mused. Why don't I see any peak stage immortal kings? Qin Wentian stared at everyone as he asked. Also, what's the matter with the devil maidens they were talking about? Qin Wentian asked again. There's a huge battle today that concerns the battle between the peak powers of the eastern regions and the devil maidens. Someone replied. What are the details? Qin Wentian asked. Speaking of which, this matter was instigated by the devil maidens. Although her cultivation base isn't very high, her status is extraordinary. It's rumored that she's the priestess of a supreme power in the myriad Devil Islands, for example, the Judiciary Devil Hall. After she entered the city of ancient emperors, she led her people to hunt down Zi Daolong and the others. Both sides clashed several times, and after that, Zi Daolong allied with the peak powers of the eastern regions, wanting to kill her. That person spoke. As for the cause of this matter, it seems that it's because of Qin Wentian from the eastern regions. I'm not too clear about the details. Boom. Qin Wentian's aura was incomparably cold, gushing forth ferociously, engulfing this entire space. Little lass by Qin. Qin Wentian mused in a low voice. At this moment, how could he not understand who came to the city of ancient emperors? That little lass by Qin must have come. She wanted to deal with Zi Daolong because she wanted revenge for him. Back then on the Demon God Mountain, when the Dongxing Heaven Emperor killed Zi Daolong through space, Zidi was there as well. This wasn't a secret, and many people from the major powers knew about it. In fact, many people even thought that he had already died. If Bai Qing heard this news, she would surely be enraged. She wanted to hunt down Zi Daolong because of him. Where? Qin Wentian asked. In that direction. That person pointed his finger towards the distance. Qin Wentian turned and directly stepped out. His immortal sense extended outwards, enveloping an extremely distant location. In that direction, a heaven-shaking killing intent gushed over, terrifying to the extreme. In the air far away, 10,000 swords could be seen flowing about, whistling through the air. The sky changed color as the people in the surroundings stared in shock. What a powerful might! This was the arrival of a peak-stage immortal king, exuding boundless killing intent. How terrifying! That sword intent flowed too quickly, descending in the blink of an eye. In the air, sword might filled the entire space, transforming into constellations. Countless astral swords gushed over. It was unknown how terrifying this was. Within that astral sword intent, there was a peak-stage immortal king from the Paragon Sword sect. Although he was only at the initial phase of the Paragon Sword sect, his combat prowess was extremely shocking. His eyes shot out sharp swords, directly piercing into Qin Wentian's eyes. How fast! This saber sword immortal king is in for it. He will die for sure. Many people exclaimed. This saber sword immortal king's combat prowess was unparalleled, but he was after all a mid-stage immortal king. The person who came was a peak-stage immortal king. If it was an ordinary peak-stage immortal king, he might still have a chance to fight. But the aura exuded by this person was too terrifying. This person was definitely a peak-stage immortal king with extraordinary combat prowess. The astral swords in the air were all Paragon swords. Slaughtering the students of my Supreme Sword School. For those who are related to you, I will kill them all. That person's voice was cold to the extreme. He pointed his finger forward, and in an instant, the astral swords in the air increased in speed, enveloping a radius of 1,000 miles. With Qin Wentian at the center, the sword intent was extremely terrifying. The surrounding immortal kings all retreated, evading the terrifying sword intent. All of them silently felt pity for Qin Wentian. Such a powerful immortal king was killed just like that. The astral swords buried everything, shooting towards Qin Wentian. At this moment, runes circulated around Qin Wentian's body, transforming into an indestructible Vajra body. Not only so, beams of sword intent circulated around his body, transforming into a screen of Vajra swords. Qin Wentian stared up at the sky as he gripped his sword and saber tightly, his eyes gleaming with a terrifying light. BZ. The 10,000 swords pierced through the air, burying everything, destroying everything. Many people sighed in sorrow. Such absolute killing might. Qin Wentian had no way to reverse it. There was basically no way for him to block it. This was simply too violent. Boom boom boom. The astral sword slashed down, burying Qin Wentian within the screen of swords. The peak stage immortal king of the Supreme Sword School stood proudly in the air, staring at everyone. Who knows who this person is? Which power does he belong to? Qin Wentian actually dared to slaughter the students of his Supreme Sword School. In that case, he could only kill his way back. Everyone didn't know how to reply. But at this moment, A sword intent that didn't belong to a peak-stage immortal king of the Paragon Sword sect suddenly gushed forth from the destroyed area. Everyone turned their gazes over only to see a terrifying sword intent erupting forth, capable of destroying all swords. Qin Wentian's figure appeared once more. He was enveloped by the screen of swords, standing there unmoving. His gaze was filled with disdain, incomparably dazzling. The immortal kings simply didn't dare to believe their eyes. How could he be so powerful? Such a powerful sword intent couldn't even break through his defense? What sort of existence was this saber-sword immortal king exactly? That peak-stage immortal king from the Supreme Sword School frowned as a look of bewilderment appeared on his face. How could this be? His Paragon Sword might actually fail to kill Qin Wentian? Could it be that Qin Wentian had some sort of defensive treasure? Is your sword even worthy of being called a Paragon Sword? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. After that, he lifted his hand and slashed out with his sword. At the instant this sword slashed out, a river of swords manifested in the air. This river of swords contained an unparalleled sword intent that could destroy the constellations in the sky. The expression of the peak-stage immortal king from the Supreme Sword School drastically changed. His sword intent frenziedly gushed forth as the river of swords collided with it. After that, the sword intent from the river of swords erupted forth, penetrating through his body. With a piercing sound, his body was completely annihilated, disintegrating into nothingness under the might of that supreme sword intent. Not even his bones remained. That sword intent pierced through the river of swords, vanishing into the distance. The peak-stage immortal king from the Supreme Sword School died, killed with a single strike. The Emperor's fate behind Qin Wentian grew even more resplendent. The spectating immortal kings were all dumbfounded as they panted heavily. A peak-stage immortal king from the Supreme Sword School was killed with a single strike. This man was none other than the saber-sword immortal king. Chapter 1466. The Saber-Sword Immortal King? Why haven't I heard of him before? It's impossible for such a supreme character to be nameless. The magnificence of this man is sufficient to shake an entire region. Being able to kill a peak-stage immortal king from the Supreme Sword School. This man's combat prowess is definitely comparable to the most outstanding geniuses in the city of ancient emperors. If his cultivation base is a little higher, he would definitely be able to contend against those geniuses. Many thoughts flashed through the minds of everyone. All of them were stunned by how strong Qin Wentian was. The emperor's fate behind Qin Wentian grew more and more resplendent. Clearly, all the immortal kings here were filled with reverence for him. The faith energy was harvested by him, causing his emperor's fate to increase. In addition to his earlier battle achievements, Qin Wentian's emperor's fate had already surpassed many extraordinary immortal kings in the city of ancient emperors. Even the peak-stage immortal king from the Supreme Sword School, who came earlier, wasn't as dazzling as Qin Wentian's. At this moment, Qin Wentian directly departed, moving towards the horizons, vanishing from sight. At this moment, the entire space was in an uproar. Everyone, has anyone heard of the name of the saber-sword immortal king before? Someone curiously asked. Nope, I wonder which region he is from. The experts all spoke, feeling somewhat shocked. They didn't expect that no one had heard of him before. Seems like the rumors are true. The era has changed. From the looks of the city of ancient emperors, this time around, there would surely be a large number of supreme geniuses. I wonder how many supreme geniuses would appear, dominating the city of ancient emperors. Someone mumbled in a low voice. Yeah, the crown prince of the Taihua immortal dynasty was pierced through by a golden spear. The peak-stage immortal king of the Supreme Sword School was killed with a single sword strike, and the other immortal kings were all killed by the saber-sword immortal king. The current situation in the city of ancient emperors is completely different from the past. This is too crazy. Although we aren't immortal kings, we are all heroes of our own regions. But now we are no longer strong enough. Some experts sighed silently. Even for immortal kings, if they were born in this era, they would also feel inferior. That's right. Seems like in this trip to the city of ancient emperors, we can only be spectators and witness the rise of the various hegemonic powers. All of them had different emotions in their hearts. During these days in the city of ancient emperors, they all felt that a different era had arrived. The immortal realms would soon welcome a golden era. Qin Wentian naturally didn't know what the others were thinking about him. At this moment he was in a hurry to rush towards that direction. His body was like a rock, streaking across the sky like a bolt of lightning. There was only Bai Qing in his mind. Bai Qing came from the myriad devil islands, entered the city of ancient emperors, and pursued Zi Daolong. Everything was because of him. This little lass was always like this, silently sacrificing herself in the back. The son of Zi Daolong, was an extraordinary character. In addition, the major powers of the eastern regions have long formed an alliance, advancing and retreating together. They would definitely join forces to deal with Bai Qing. He was naturally very worried. Finally, Qin Wentian saw that he had arrived at the city area of the Emperor City. In front of him, there were numerous palaces and experts standing in all directions. In the middle of the battlefield, several experts were engaged in a violent battle. Demonic might towered up to the sky, purple chi crisscrossed, and sword chi slashed everywhere. Little lass Bai Qing. Qin Wentian's gaze directly ignored the battlefield and landed on a group of figures in the airspace above a palace. This group of people were all devil cultivators, and in the center, there was a figure exuding magnificence. She was clad in the robes of a judge and had a laurel crown on her head. A blood-colored judge mask covered her face. This person was none other than Bai Qing. As expected, she has arrived. That damned monk is here as well. Qin Wentian glanced at Wuxia. Right now, Wuxia's long black hair fluttered in the wind, and there were many experts around him, protecting him. Seems like this fellow Wuxia is doing very well in the myriad ancient devil hall. Qin Wentian silently mused, only to see at this moment, a gaze turned over to him. It was none other than Wuxia. His senses were extremely sharp, and he could sense that Qin Wentian was looking at him. His eyes gleamed with a golden light, wanting to see through all illusions and see through Qin Wentian. However, right now, regardless of Qin Wentian's appearance or aura, both were concealed with the help of a divine weapon. Wuxia had no way to see through Qin Wentian's cultivation base. A look of bewilderment flashed on his face before he shifted his gaze away, continuing to observe the battlefield. As for Qin Wentian, he stared at the figures standing opposite Bai Qing. As expected, it was none other than Zi Daolong and the others, as well as the experts from the Supreme Sword School, Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, and the other peak powers of the eastern regions. Back then in the city of ancient emperors, Wuxia killed Zi Daoyang. Zidi wanted to place this debt on Qin Wentian, and even sent Zi Daolong to the Evergreen Kingdom and the Namhuang clan to demand for Qin Wentian. After that, not only was this debt not settled, the hatred between them grew deeper and deeper. Wuxia, as a monk of the Wenxin Temple, it's fine if you want to return to the secular world. Why did you choose to become a devil cultivator? You are one of the last 3 people from the Wenxin Temple, yet you chose to become a devil cultivator. What position do you place the Wenxin Temple in? An expert stared at Wuxia as he calmly asked. This expert was from the 9 Emperors' immortal state, a peak power of the central regions like the Wenxin Temple. The strength of the Wenxin Temple was extraordinary. Every generation, they would only send out 3 people to the secular world to cultivate. Wuxia was one of the last 3, and could be said to be a character nurtured heavily by the Wenxin Temple. However, he actually chose to become a devil cultivator, and was protected by a devil cultivator. This was simply disgraceful. In the Wenxin Temple, Master and my senior brothers once taught me that I have to experience the pain and suffering of the masses. I have to walk a path of 10,000 miles and comprehend life. I chose the devil path because it's also a type of comprehension. I followed the teachings of my master and my senior brothers, seeing the difference between Buddha and devil. Only then would I be able to see through all illusions and focus on the path of Buddha. What sort of character was Wuxia? Everything he said was a lie. If one wanted to reason with him, how could they win? Let alone the fact that his shamelessness was something Qin Wentian had already experienced before. You have already fallen into the devil path, and yet you still speak in such a righteous manner. You are simply a disgrace to the Buddhist path. The expert from the 9 Emperors' immortal state coldly spoke. I once considered whether this would go against the Tao of the Buddhist path. However, after many days of contemplation, I finally understood the logic of the Buddhist path. As the saying goes, if I don't enter hell, who would? I chose to enter the devil path. Only then would I be able to understand the devil path. If I can purify the devil island, it would be an unparalleled merit. This is the true great Tao of Buddha. I can only give up on my own reputation. Wuxia's voice was solemn, his expression solemn. He was simply shameless to a certain extent. Even the ancestors of the Buddhist path would be moved by him. What a glib tongue. If someone like you can also enter the Buddhist path, it would truly be the greatest joke in the world. The expert from the 9 Emperors' immortal state impolitely spoke. I heard that you often enter closed-door seclusion and meditate on your praying mat. You are extremely hardworking, which is why you have your current achievements. Right now, the praying mat you are sitting on already has a strange smell. Wuxia calmly spoke, as though he was speaking something completely unrelated. This caused the expert from the 9 Emperors' immortal state to start. What do you mean? Wuxia pressed his palms together, his expression solemn. He calmly spoke. The strange smell on your praying mat naturally has nothing to do with me. That expert started. He didn't understand what Qin Wentian meant. However, at this moment, laughter rang out. It seemed that someone understood what Qin Wentian meant. That expert glanced around and coincidentally saw someone laughing. He then asked, "What are you laughing at?" "What am I not laughing at?" That person shut his mouth, not daring to say anything more. At this moment, a voice spread out. "The praying mat you are sitting on is giving off a strange smell. Of course, it has nothing to do with you. Haha, I am going to die from laughter." Many experts were stunned and then they sweated profusely. Black lines appeared on their foreheads as they looked at Wuxia. This monk, even when scolding people, he was so philosophical. The 9 Emperors' immortal state's celestial king's face alternated between green and white as he stared at Wuxia. However, regarding Wuxia becoming a demon cultivator, Wenqin Temple didn't say anything about it. It really had nothing to do with him. As they spoke, the experts who were fighting in the air finally retreated, returning to their own camps. None of them were able to do anything to each other. There were a few who were injured, but their auras were still as violent as ever as they stared at their opponents. I've never offended any of the major powers of the myriad devil islands. As the priestess of the Judiciary Devil Hall, you actually acted against me for Qin Wentian. If the Judiciary Devil Hall knew about this, they most probably wouldn't allow you to act so arrogantly. Seems like the words of the 9 Emperors' immortal state are right. Qin Wentian is definitely your lover. How ridiculous. The priestess of the Judiciary Devil Hall is actually having a secret affair with Wuxia of the Immortal Realms. Such a ridiculous thing can even happen. The Judiciary Devil Hall is truly interesting. Zidaolong coldly spoke, mocking Bai Qing. Before this, Bai Qing brought people to hunt him down and he had no idea what was going on. After that, he met the people of the 9 Emperors' immortal state and learned that back then during the adjudication battle, the priestess of the Judiciary Devil Hall on the Devil Mountain was an old acquaintance of Qin Wentian. Hence, Zidaolong finally understood why these devil cultivators wanted to act against him. When Qin Wentian heard Zidaolong insulting Bai Qing, coldness flashed in his eyes. Bai Qing's black eyes didn't change much. She was still as cold as ever as she stared at Zidaolong. Your father is a peak-stage immortal emperor, yet he actually sneak-attacked a junior, who is so much younger than you. Everyone in the world knows about this. No matter how interesting the Judiciary Devil Hall is, they wouldn't be as shameless as your father. Wuxia laughed. Zidaolong's eyes gleamed with violet light as he stared at Bai Qing and Wuxia. Qin Wentian is a traitor, disrespecting seniors. He has to die for sure. Although I don't know where he is right now, as long as he dares to show himself, I will definitely kill him. As for you guys, if you want to stand up for him, you can challenge me. You are a peak-stage immortal king and you want us to challenge you. Wuxia stared at Zidaolong. As expected, like father like son, each of you is more shameless than the other. As long as I'm here, I will definitely kill you. Bai Qing coldly spoke, exuding a strong determination. It was like as long as she was here, she would spare no expense to kill Zi Daolong, no matter what method she had to use. Zi Daolong's eyes narrowed as violet light circulated within them. He stared at the experts in the surroundings. Everyone, these devil cultivators have always been extremely ruthless, even more so compared to the greater demons of the desolate mountains. Our immortal realms and the myriad devil islands are irreconcilable enemies. Why don't we take this opportunity to kill them all? Chapter 1467. Many experts fell silent when they heard Zi Daolong's words. They were all immortal kings. How could it be so easy to fool them? Although the immortal realms were enemies with the myriad devil islands, this was a grudge between Zi Daolong and the Judiciary Devil Hall. They wouldn't be so foolish as to interfere. That's right. Everyone is from the various regions of the immortal realms, and are all heroes of the immortal king realms. This time around, the people of the Judiciary Devil Hall from the myriad devil islands dared to act so arrogantly in our city of ancient emperors. Let's kill them all to prevent future troubles, and prevent another desolate mountain range from invading our immortal realms in the future. The experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom naturally stood on the same side as Zi Daolong. Starting to move the immortal realms now? The demons of the desolate mountain range are wreaking havoc in the gazing Emperor City. Yet I don't see you all standing out to defend against them. Acting so righteously, is it all for the sake of your own schemes? How ridiculous. A mocking voice rang out. Zi Daolong and the others turned their gazes over, staring at the person who spoke. It was none other than Qin Wentian, whom they met back then in the ancient Emperor Palace. Their eyes flashed with killing intent. Shut up. Zi Daolong coldly laughed. He didn't expect Qin Wentian to stand out and speak for the devil cultivators. He was simply courting death. As Wuxia of the immortal realms, he actually spoke for the devil cultivators of the myriad devil islands. How can we not destroy such a traitor? Go and kill him. Zi Daolong's voice was cold. A moment later, a powerful immortal king beside him walked out, rushing towards Qin Wentian. Before this, when Qin Wentian was together with the people from the immortal Qianbian Gate, Zi Daolong already wanted to kill him. Who would have thought that this fellow would actually appear here alone, and even dared to speak out? He was simply courting death. The eyes of everyone flashed as they stared at Zi Daolong. As expected of the son of the peak stage Emperor Zidi, Qin Wentian merely spoke out of turn, and Zi Daolong wanted to take Qin Wentian's life? How tyrannical. The cultivator who walked out was the personal disciple of Zidi. He was extremely powerful. The rule power around him roared and purple qi rose from the east. Overbearing power filled the air. He raised his fist and punched out. It was like a giant purple dragon that blasted towards Qin Wentian. It was incomparably ferocious and tyrannical. Qin Wentian unsheathed his sword and slashed out. Sword qi filled the air, directly killing the purple dragon. That cultivator continued to walk forward, arriving not too far away from Qin Wentian. Both of his palms slammed out at the same time, causing the air to roar in anger. Violent purple astral winds tore everything apart as the two purple palm prints destroyed everything, resembling dragon seals. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as he dashed out like a bolt of lightning. His body was light and his speed was extremely fast. He consecutively slashed out twice with his sword as a dazzling sword will appeared in the air, shattering the palm imprints. After that, he stared at his opponent as he slashed out with his sword. In an instant, a formless force descended, causing his opponent to feel as though the world before him was changing, as though he was in a dream. Not good. His expression drastically changed. When he struggled free, he only saw a beam of sword light slashing down from the air, directly slashing into his body. His eyes were wide open. He didn't expect his opponent to be so decisive, directly killing him. You how ruthless. A weak voice rang out. This was the last word spoken by that disciple of Zidi. After that, his body plummeted down from the air as he was killed. Zi Daolong's eyes gleamed with a terrifying violet light. His aura gushed forth. The person beside him also unleashed a tyrannical might as he lunged towards Qin Wentian. You actually dared to kill him? Their statuses were extraordinary. They were the inheritors of Zidi. Even if they wanted to kill Qin Wentian, according to their understanding, Qin Wentian wouldn't dare to kill them. Qin Wentian couldn't be bothered with them. He directly slashed out with his sword. Sword Qi traversed through space, aiming for the person who spoke, using a tyrannical and direct method to reply. You guys already gave the order to kill him, yet you still dare to say such words? Admirable, admirable. Wuxia clasped his hands, his words causing the expressions of Zi Daolong and the others to turn even more unsightly. Although Wuxia's words were logical, the guts of this person was truly too big. With a mid-stage Immortal King cultivation base, he actually dared to fight against Zi Daolong and the others. One must know that there were quite a few peak-stage Immortal Kings on their side. Such a force was sufficient to easily destroy him. Boom! A peak-stage Immortal King beside Zi Daolong acted, destroying the sword attack from Qin Wentian. After that, several experts stepped out. Their auras were majestic and their might towered into the sky. Terrifying law domains were instantly unleashed, shooting towards Qin Wentian. Go! Bai Qing waved her hand. A moment later, several powerful devil experts stepped out. Devil might churned wildly as blood-red lightning bolts shot out, causing those experts who were moving towards Qin Wentian to have no choice but to turn around and face the Devil Kings of the Judiciary Devil Hall. Let's do it. Let's kill this devilish maiden here today. Zi Daolong spoke. After that, many experts from the allied powers nodded as they stepped out, moving towards Bai Qing's location. Let's fight. Wuxia spoke. The Immortal Kings beside him also stepped out. For a period of time, the atmosphere in this space turned incomparably violent as all sorts of destructive auras gushed forth. The spectators all retreated backwards. Seems like a chaotic battle between Immortal Kings was about to erupt, and the shockwaves from such a battle would surely be too great. It was better for them to avoid it. Haha, how lively this place is. A carefree voice rang out. After that, Jun Mengchen and several Immortal Kings walked over. They naturally had long sensed Qin Wentian's existence, and came here to participate in the battle. What? The people of the Immortal Qianbian Gate also want to interfere, rebelling against the immortal realms and helping the devil cultivators? Zi Daolong coldly spoke. Their alliance naturally had the advantage against these devil cultivators. But if Jun Mengchen and the others joined in as well, their advantage would be nibbled away bit by bit. If that was the case, even if they won the battle, they would have to pay a heavy price for it. How big they must be trying to pin the blame on our heads. Jun Mengchen laughed loudly. Don't forget that when you guys were fighting against the demonic beasts of the desolate mountains in the Gazing Emperor City, you didn't have the intention to unite against them. Instead, you were mocking and humiliating us. But now you guys suddenly changed the topic. You guys are representing the immortal realms? Zi Daolong, your father is already so old. A peak-stage immortal emperor chasing after my senior brother. I've already thought that you guys are shameless enough. As expected, you have inherited the good points of your father. This fellow is truly audacious, daring to insult Zidi so directly. Someone silently mused. Zidi was after all a peak-stage immortal emperor. An Empyrean who stood at the very peak of the immortal realms. Even if he wasn't here, those who dared to insult Zidi would still need to have courage. However, Jun Mengchen has always been like this, not fearing anything in the heavens or earth. Zidi has always wanted to destroy the immortal Qianbian Gate and kill Qin Wentian. How could he show any respect to Zidi? Who is going to kill him? Zi Daolong spoke. I'll go kill him. A powerful immortal king spoke, moving towards the direction of Jun Mengchen. Courting death. An extremely cold light flashed in Jun Mengchen's eyes. Tuoba Saint Sky, who was beside him, took a step forward. Jun Mengchen and the disciples from the heavenly talisman realm all released their law energy. This time, let's help senior brother Qin vent his anger. Jun Mengchen coldly spoke. Regardless of Zidi or the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, he had long since disliked them. No matter what, they were both immortal emperors, yet they had no poise at all. Back then, if he didn't vent his anger on Qin Wentian for Zi Daoyang's death, there wouldn't be any conflict between them at all. The immortal kings that rushed towards Qin Wentian were intercepted by the devil cultivators around by Qin. The battle was about to erupt, but there was still an immortal king who soared through the air, appearing before Qin Wentian. He was in charge of killing Qin Wentian. Sending a peak-stage immortal king to kill me. They truly think highly of me. Qin Wentian turned and fled with extreme speed. That peak-stage immortal king coldly snorted and chased after him. Earlier, you were so arrogant. You want to flee now? Stop dreaming. That peak-stage immortal king grabbed out with his palm, transforming it into a prison of heaven and earth, trapping Qin Wentian within it. A terrifying gravity bore down on Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian to be restricted. What a powerful law domain. As expected of a peak-stage immortal king. Qin Wentian silently mused. This gravity prison was formed by the fusion of several different law attributes, transforming into a domain that could imprison people at the same level as him, greatly affecting their combat prowess. How can you flee? That immortal king mocked. After that, an incomparably sharp dark yellow spear shot out from the gravity prison, containing an explosive might as it pierced through space, aiming for Qin Wentian. Boom! Resplendent golden runes appeared on Qin Wentian's body, but he was still forced back by the impact. He groaned in misery, as though he had suffered a heavy injury. Bang! That immortal king stepped out, directly entering the gravity prison. His gaze was filled with disdain as he stared at Qin Wentian. Although you are a mid-stage immortal king, you are nothing more than an ant before this seat. You actually dare to mock an immortal emperor? You truly don't know the immensity of death. As he spoke, another heaven-shaking spear appeared in his hand. Not only was this spear extremely sharp, it was also extremely heavy. He directly stabbed it towards Qin Wentian, wanting to penetrate Qin Wentian. He was extremely confident in his law domain. Under his law domain, even mid-stage immortal kings would be greatly restricted. His attacks could easily crush mid-stage immortal kings. Boom! Qin Wentian's body transformed into the indestructible Vajra body. When the spear pierced out, it blasted through the indestructible Vajra body. At the same time, Qin Wentian lifted his palms as numerous tiny pagodas appeared. In an instant, a heaven-shaking suppressive might erupted forth, causing the expression of that peak-stage immortal king to stiffen. After that, he saw Qin Wentian slashing out with his palms, slashing out a sword that could pierce through the heavens and earth. A torrential sword chi gushed forth as the sword intent slashed out. That immortal king wanted to move, but he discovered that it was extremely difficult. He used gravity to restrain Qin Wentian, but he didn't want to be suppressed by Qin Wentian. Puchi! A sword strike! That peak-stage immortal king saw the coldness in Qin Wentian's eyes. That was a kind of disregard, as though Qin Wentian didn't have him in his eyes at all. Earlier, Qin Wentian's act of fleeing and his injuries were all an act to make it easier for him to kill him. As a peak-stage immortal king, in the eyes of Qin Wentian, he was nothing more than prey. The sword slashed out, causing the peak-stage immortal king to howl in rage. An instant later, his body was slashed apart as the prison was broken apart. The spectators from afar turned their gazes over, and when they saw Qin Wentian rushing out of the prison, their eyes all froze. This is only the beginning. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed like lightning, terrifying to the extreme. Chapter 1468. The violet light in Zi Daolong's eyes grew even more intense. He felt that there wouldn't be any problems if a peak-stage immortal king acted to kill Qin Wentian. However, he didn't expect that Qin Wentian pretended to retreat, because he wanted to hunt down that peak-stage immortal king. Not long after the battle started, that peak-stage immortal king died in Qin Wentian's hands. In fact, they didn't even manage to see clearly how Qin Wentian did it. A peak-stage immortal king, even for a transcendent power, would definitely be considered a cornerstone. If one of them was killed, it would be a huge loss. This was especially so when his father, Zidi, didn't establish an immortal empire like the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom or the Evergreen Kingdom. He only accepted some disciples from the Violet Mountain to guide and nurture them. A peak-stage immortal king died. Zi Daolong couldn't help but feel pain in his heart. At this moment, battles erupted everywhere. Those immortal kings who were rushing towards Jun Mengchen, Tuoba Saint Sky and the other experts from the Heavenly Talisman realm unleashed their tyrannical attacks. In an instant, the experts from the Heavenly Talisman realm unleashed their own law domains with Tuoba Saint Sky as the center. In an instant, Tuoba Saint Sky assimilated the law energies of the experts from the Heavenly Talisman realm, fusing them into his own. This was a unique ability of his. Back then during the war between the Dongshangshan Gate and the Immortal Qianbian Gate, Tuoba Saint Sky also relied on this ability to dominate the battlefield. Staring at the incoming Immortal Kings, Tuoba Saint Sky directly punched out towards the Immortal King at the front. His assimilated law energies stacked together, and with this punch, the heavens and earth howled in rage as the wind and clouds changed color. The law energy in the surroundings churned violently as all the energy blasted into that punch, directly shattering the law domain of that Immortal King, penetrating through everything and continuing on towards the body of that Immortal King. That Immortal King at the forefront felt the might of this punch as his countenance drastically changed. It felt like this entire world was about to be engulfed by this punch. He roared in rage and unleashed a powerful defense. However, when the punch landed, it destroyed everything with ease. With a thunderous boom, law energy swept through this space, causing the entire space to collapse. That Immortal King was directly killed by a single punch. The Immortal Kings at the back halted. A peak stage Immortal King spoke. This man has a unique astral soul that can assimilate law energy. His attacks are stacked together, and he can even borrow the law energy of others. We mustn't clash head-on. All the experts halted their steps, not daring to be impulsive. They could faintly sense this ability of Tuoba Saint Sky. With this unique ability, as long as there were some experts beside him, he would be able to boost his strength. And for Tuoba Saint Sky, who was already at the peak stage of the Immortal King realm, once he gained the boost of strength, his strength wouldn't be as simple as just adding the number of experts. Just think about it. In a situation where his attacks were all boosted, who would be able to withstand his attacks? That Immortal King who died earlier was a very good example. Zi Daolong waved his hand. Even more Immortal Kings were preparing to reinforce Tuoba Saint Sky. Who would have thought that these people would suddenly appear out of nowhere? This time around Zi Daolong initially wanted to deal with the Devil Maidens of the Myriad Devil Islands. As for the other two battlefields, the Immortal Kings of the Judiciary Devil Hall were all proficient in the art of adjudication. In addition, when they joined forces, they were able to coordinate with each other. The Devil Cultivators of the Myriad Ancient Devil Hall, led by Wuxia, were similarly terrifying. Although they were fighting individually, each of them could borrow the will of the ancient devils, and even summon the devil cultivators from the Myriad Ancient Devil Hall. In an extremely short period of time when the battle erupted, the entire space was in chaos. The sky lost its color as the radiance of the stars enveloped the vast region. The battlefield was instantly pulled to a great extent, and the people in the distance all retreated to a faraway place. This caused many experts who were far away to rush over, knowing that a great battle had erupted here. There were so many Immortal Kings participating in this battle. Even in the current city of ancient emperors, it was extremely rare. After Qin Wentian killed that peak stage Immortal King, he returned to the battlefield. His sharp eyes swept through the battlefield. One of his hands was wielding a sword and a saber. Law energy flowed around him as Emperor's fate shone resplendently behind him. His entire person exuded the might of a king. The brothers of the 9 Emperors' immortal state have once allied with us. This time around, we are able to fight side by side again and help me kill these people. Zi Daolong will definitely remember this favor. Zi Daolong spoke to the immortal kings of the 9 Emperors' immortal state, who didn't participate in the battle. Although there weren't many experts from the 9 Emperors' immortal state here, there were still 5 of them, and one of them was a peak stage immortal king. If they joined in, they would definitely have a great influence on the overall situation, allowing their side to have more initiative. Our opponents are all supreme powers. It wouldn't be too good if we offend them. The peak stage immortal king from the 9 Emperors' immortal state laughed, but he didn't directly reject. That's simple. Brothers, help me kill this brat. He doesn't seem to belong to any of the major powers. Zi Daolong pointed to Qin Wentian. him. But this man's combat prowess is also very powerful. Earlier he even killed a peak-stage immortal king. That peak-stage immortal king from the 9 Emperors' immortal state spoke, his words causing Zi Daolong to silently curse at this fellow. Seems like if he didn't promise him some benefits, the immortal king of the 9 Emperors' immortal state wouldn't act. Characters of this level were all wily old foxes. How about this? I owe Brother Zhu a favor. In the future, if there's a need, I, Zi Daolong, will definitely repay you. Zi Daolong spoke. The immortal king from the 9 Emperors' immortal state laughed. Brother Zi, why is there a need to be so polite? Since Brother Zi has spoken, we will act for Brother Zi and kill this man. You can focus on dealing with the other opponents. Right. Zi Daolong nodded and moved towards Bai Qing's direction. The situation there was somewhat hard to control. He had to head over there to take control of the situation and kill that evil woman. At this moment, Qin Wentian was preparing to join the battle. However, he heard the conversation between Zi Daolong and the immortal king from the 9 Emperors' immortal state. After that, the 5 immortal kings all turned their gazes onto him. Qin Wentian wielded his saber and sword with both hands, radiating powerful law energy. Coldly he stared ahead. If you guys want to obstruct me, I will kill you without mercy. What an arrogant fellow. This seat has already been at the peak stage of the immortal king realm for thousands of years. Even if your combat prowess is powerful, how dare you act so arrogantly before this seat? In addition, I don't intend to waste time with you. I will directly kill you. That peak stage immortal king in the lead stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke. If you want to gang up on me, you can even speak in such a dignified manner. Why is there a need for this? If the 9 Emperors' immortal state wants to get involved in this, you better think things through. Wuxia's voice rang out. It was as though he was going to clash with the people from the 9 Emperors' immortal state. Wuxia, you have already fallen to the devil path. You better be worried that the Wanxin Temple will clean up your sect instead. That peak stage immortal king coldly spoke. After that, the 5 immortal kings all unleashed their emperor domains at the same time. For a period of time, a blinding killing light filled the sky, capable of destroying everything in its path. Go to hell. The 5 immortal kings from the 9 Emperors' immortal state shot out immortal light of laws at the same time. The fearsome light instantly enveloped everything within a radius of a few hundred miles. Qin Wentian was also enveloped by the domain of laws. Each strand of immortal light was like a golden spear, indestructible, piercing towards Qin Wentian. For ordinary mid-stage immortal kings, even if they were at the peak of this level, they wouldn't be able to block such an attack. Qin Wentian wielded his sword and saber, standing proudly in the air. Dazzling golden runes flowed around him, resembling ancient Buddhist characters. There was a wondrous will contained within them. When the immortal light entered his body, it had no way to break through his defense of laws. Is this his immortal body of laws? Such an immortal body of laws is truly terrifying. The spectating immortal kings couldn't help but to sigh in their hearts when they saw Qin Wentian's defense. However, the killing intent of the immortal kings from the 9 Emperors' immortal state vanished. The immortal light radiating from them grew even more intense as they grabbed out with their palms. A moment later, all sorts of divine weapons appeared within the immortal light. Golden swords, long spears, ancient spears, all of them pierced through space, aiming for Qin Wentian. Boom! Qin Wentian moved. There was no hesitation at all as he dashed towards the destructive attack. He allowed the terrifying might of the attack to slam into his body, completely disregarding it. This caused the immortal kings from the 9 Emperors' immortal state to frown. This physique was somewhat unexpected. Go! The sharp sword in Qin Wentian's hand slashed out, piercing through the air, aiming for that peak stage immortal king. The sword hummed as it radiated a destructive sword intent, capable of annihilating everything. That peak stage immortal king retreated. The sharp sword seemed to have locked onto him. The eyes of the peak stage immortal king of the 9 Emperors' immortal state gleamed with immortal light. With a wave of his hands, a screen of light appeared before him, blocking all the incoming attacks. With a thunderous boom, the screen of light shattered apart. However, the might of the sword intent was too great. That peak stage immortal king coldly snorted, and waved his hand to repel the sword. But at the same time when this sword was chasing after him, Qin Wentian had already rushed towards the other 4 immortal kings. With a stomp of his foot, a terrifying might that could suppress the heavens and earth bore down on them. This entire space seemed to be engulfed by a formless pagoda, suppressing everything. The 4 immortal kings instantly felt their bodies becoming less agile, as though they were being suppressed by an immense amount of power. The saber slashed out. It was a simple and unadorned saber strike, yet it was fast to the extreme, sharp to the extreme, infused with the sword saint's will. When this saber slashed out, the 4 immortal kings felt their minds trembling, as though their souls were being attacked. With a piercing sound, fresh blood splattered through the air. The 4 immortal kings were all struck by the saber light, and in an instant, all of them fell to the ground. Impudent! That peak stage immortal king's eyes widened in anger when he saw this scene. The 4 immortal kings of the 9 emperors' immortal state were actually all slain by a single saber strike from Qin Wentian. I've said it before. For those who block me, I will kill them. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with coldness. He lifted his saber and slashed out once more. That peak stage immortal king only felt a bolt of lightning directly blasting into his mind, penetrating through his soul. He raised both his fists above his head and punched out at the same time. His royal immortal light transformed into an emperor armor that protected him, preventing the saber light from breaking through. But even so, his heart trembled violently as he felt an intense threat from Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian lifted his saber high up in the air. A terrifying will towered up into the clouds as his saber intent towered up into the sky. As this saber slashed down, it felt like even the void would be cleaved into 2. That peak stage immortal king only saw the saber light tearing through the sky before his body was split into 2. Another peak stage immortal king died under Qin Wentian's saber. This time around, the domineering saber sword immortal king killed 5 immortal kings consecutively. Chapter 1469. Is he going crazy? The spectators all felt their hearts trembling. 5 immortal kings from the 9 emperors' immortal state, including a peak stage immortal king, were all killed. A late-phase mid-stage immortal king killed 5 immortal kings consecutively and did so with ease. There was simply no one on the same level who could contend against him. Where did this saber sword immortal king come from? How can he be so powerful? Does he want to contend against those existences in the city of ancient emperors, seizing emperor's fate, and becoming an unparalleled character? Someone sighed. But given how violent he is, he killed 5 immortal kings from the 9 emperors' immortal state. Would the experts from the 9 emperors' immortal state spare him? Don't forget that there's a demon-level character in the 9 emperors' immortal state. That person is extremely terrifying. If he knew about this, he would surely rush over to kill the saber sword immortal king. Too ruthless. I'm afraid it would be hard for him to survive. He offended the 9 emperors' immortal state in one go. In addition to Zidaolong and the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, he has too many enemies. His cultivation base is still a little weak. It would be hard for him to survive. Someone spoke. They didn't doubt Qin Wentian's talent, but the city of ancient emperors was too dangerous now. This is the reason why you guys are unable to shine. A calm voice rang out. An immortal king among the crowd stood with his hands clasped behind his back. The emperor's fate behind him radiated boundless might as he spoke. Since the ancient times, which supreme character didn't conquer the world, defeating all enemies? For those ancient emperors, which one of them didn't step on the bones of countless people to attain their Tao? If you don't even dare to retaliate when others want to kill you, what qualifications do you have to stand out in this era? Maybe. Someone sighed. Maybe for those characters with such accomplishments, their courage is truly something we can't imagine. The Emperor realm is already so far away, ancient emperors. I don't dare to agree with your words. Even if he's an unparalleled character, he should know how to endure in front of the bigger picture. Even if the other party wants to kill him, he hasn't matured yet and has extraordinary talent. It's only right for him to endure and wait until his cultivation base is high enough to take revenge. If he directly kills like this, even if he has the talent of an ancient emperor, he would still fall on the path of pursuit. Someone spoke. Ha ha ha, how many geniuses have there been since ancient times? How many of them could become ancient emperors? Is it really because their talent is not enough? How many heroes have fallen on the path of cultivation? Just like what you said, you think you can reach that cultivation realm just by enduring silently? This is the funniest joke I've ever heard. That immortal king laughed uproariously. How many immortal kings and emperors died trying to take that step? Yet an immortal king actually has such ridiculous thoughts? How sad. Discussing the Tao with you is a form of humiliation. The expression of that immortal king earlier turned cold. But when he saw that Qin Wentian still stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, exuding an air of arrogance. When he thought of what Qin Wentian said earlier, he didn't dare to say anything more. The people at the side all understood what was going on when they saw this scene. This was the difference in temperament between the two of them. That immortal king who said he could endure silently did so, not daring to act at all. After Qin Wentian killed the 5 immortal kings, the emperor's fate behind him grew even more terrifying. It was so bright that it was about to turn corporeal. He returned to the chaotic battlefield once more. His silhouette flashed as he sped towards the battlefield whereby Qing was at. The attacks of immortal kings were too ferocious. Hence, even if it was a group battle, the distance between each immortal king was still extremely vast. Even if there was a distance of tens of thousands of meters, they could cross it with a single step. Qin Wentian's eyes instantly locked onto one of the immortal kings. His silhouette flashed as he sped towards that direction. Qin Wentian's movement technique was extremely fast, like a great rock. That immortal king was currently fighting against a devil cultivator, when he suddenly felt a sense of danger from behind him. He turned his gaze over and blasted out with a palm strike. A moment later, a terrifying meteor shot out, transforming into a beam of light that shot towards Qin Wentian. If it smashed into a mountain range, it would definitely be able to destroy it. Qin Wentian lifted his hand and slashed out with his saber, cleaving the meteor into 2. He didn't pause at all and instantly closed in. After that, he slashed out with his sword, transforming into a beam of light that sliced through the air. When that immortal king saw the vermilion bird sword art flying towards him, he blasted out with both his hands, causing the meteors to rain down on him. However, the sword intent of the vermilion bird sword art contained a holy sword intent that could lacerate everything. The vermilion bird sword art transformed into the form of a sword, penetrating through space, destroying all the meteors. After that, the vermilion bird sword art slashed out. 4 mid-stage immortal kings, there's basically no one who can be his opponent. They won't be able to withstand a single sword strike from him. Before this, when Qin Wentian killed 4 immortal kings with a single slash, everyone understood that unless a supreme demon-level character like the saber-sword immortal king appeared, they wouldn't be able to contend against him at the same level. If not, they would be slaughtered mercilessly. After killing one, Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered, akin to a great rock shuttling through the air, appearing before a mid-stage immortal king and slashing out with his saber. If he continues on like this, these people would all be killed by him. Earlier, Zi Daolong invited the experts of the 9 emperors' immortal state to kill him. Most probably, they didn't expect him to be so powerful. The hearts of everyone trembled. Although there were some people more terrifying than Qin Wentian, for example, Tuoba Saintsky who had the ability to assimilate law energy, none of them could give the crowd such a shock as Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian instantly became the focal point, attracting the gazes of all the experts. The radiance of some people, as long as they were on the battlefield, no one would be able to block it. In the blink of an eye, Qin Wentian killed yet another immortal king. The number of immortal kings dying in his hands increased unceasingly, and all of them were Zi Daolong's subordinates. To Violet Mountain, this was a nightmare. Under Zidi, there weren't as many immortal kings as those from the immortal empires and supreme sections. However, Qin Wentian wouldn't show any mercy. Just like what Bujia and Jun Mengchen have said, Zidi didn't care about his status. As a peak-stage immortal emperor, he joined forces with Eastern Sage to kill him. Regardless of Eastern Sage or Zidi, both of them had already reached a point where they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. Back then, These two immortal emperors might still not act against him directly because of their status. But now, if they met again, they wouldn't show any mercy and would kill him directly. Since they were already like fire and water, how would Qin Wentian show any mercy? How could he show mercy to Zidi's subordinates? You guys block here. I will go kill him. Zi Daolong spoke, his voice cold to the extreme. With a flash of his silhouette, he gave up on his opponent and rushed towards Qin Wentian. Today he planned to hunt the devilish female, and initially thought that this battle would be very easy. Who would have thought that the situation would spiral out of his control, and there were already several immortal kings who were killed. This caused the look in Zi Daolong's eyes to be extremely terrifying. His killing intent towered up into the sky as he stared in the direction of Qin Wentian. Boom! A thunderous boom rang out. Zi Daolong's body was like a dragon as he roared, resembling a human-shaped gigantic beast. Violet light erupted forth from him, enveloping this entire region. The violet light transformed into a violet dragon, its eyes terrifying as it stared at Qin Wentian. As the son of Zidi, Zi Daolong naturally received the most guidance, inheriting Zidi's legacy. How could he be ordinary? Although his cultivation base was only at the initial phase of the peak stage, his aura was extremely tyrannical. Ordinary late-phase peak stage immortal kings would find it hard to defend against him. He was confident and arrogant, but he had the qualifications to do so. Boom! From afar, Zi Daolong blasted out a draconic imprint towards Qin Wentian, containing boundless might. Violet chi rose from the east, incomparably ferocious, capable of suppressing everything. Qin Wentian stood very far away, but he could already feel that majestic might. When the attack landed, the violet light engulfed everything. Within the draconic imprint, there seemed to be true dragons awakening, baring their fangs and claws, wanting to tear Qin Wentian apart. Qin Wentian suddenly had a hallucination. He was enveloped by the roars of dragons, and was about to be torn apart by the demonic dragons. Qin Wentian's expression was as calm as ever. His eyes gleamed with coldness, but he still slashed out with his sword. Within the sword light, there seemed to be tiny swords swimming about, containing a holy will that radiated a towering sword might, wanting to tear the demonic dragons apart. Since you are courting death, I'll grant you your wish. Zi Daolong stepped out, his violet eyes gleaming with a boundless violet light, terrifying to the extreme. Qin Wentian stared at Zi Daolong, his eyes cold and heavy. Zi Daolong's aura caused him to feel a trace of threat. In addition, he had no way to know how strong Zi Daolong was. As the son of Zidi, Zi Daolong would definitely have many trump cards. Zi Daolong was definitely the strongest opponent Qin Wentian had ever faced head-on. Thinking back to those years ago, it was also in the city of ancient emperors. At that time, he fought against Zi Daoyang, seizing the top ranker of the Immortal Ascension rankings. Time flowed by. Right now, the person standing before him was Zi Daoyang's elder brother, Zi Daolong. His strength was countless times stronger compared to Zi Daoyang. At this moment, Qin Wentian saw terrifying violet vortexes in Zi Daolong's eyes, causing Qin Wentian to feel wary. Zi Daolong seemed to be proficient in eye techniques, and was extremely powerful. Boom! All of a sudden, Qin Wentian only felt his mind trembling. The violet vortexes in his eyes grew frenzied, and in an instant, Qin Wentian entered a violet world. Numerous violet dragons gushed towards him, exuding terrifying might. Illusory attacks. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. His eyes gleamed with golden light as the power of truth gushed forth, allowing him to see through all illusions, breaking free from the purple-colored world. But even so, he could still see the attacks coming his way. Indeed, it was an eye technique, but it contained an attack power that was extremely terrifying. It was hard to defend against. However, he who cultivated the force of truth wasn't afraid of any illusory techniques. Boundless sword intent radiated from Qin Wentian, tearing apart all the attacks. His eye technique was mainly an illusory technique, and the attack power wasn't that strong. It was directly destroyed by the sword intent, causing a strange look to appear on Zi Daolong's face. No wonder you can kill so many immortal kings. As expected, you do have some strength. If it wasn't for you killing so many immortal kings, I might have spared your life and recruited you as my subordinate. How arrogant. Everyone silently mused when they heard this. Qin Wentian coldly laughed. Zi Daolong, you truly know how to boast shamelessly. Whether or not you can leave this place alive is still a problem. Chapter 1470. Zi Daolong and Qin Wentian stared at each other, both of them exuding boundless arrogance. Zi Daolong said that if it wasn't for Qin Wentian killing so many of his subordinates, he would consider recruiting Qin Wentian as his subordinate. How arrogant was Zi Daolong? He actually wanted to recruit such a powerful opponent. As for Qin Wentian, he directly threatened to kill him here. Could it be that this saber-sword immortal king can truly contend against Zi Daolong? Everyone was filled with doubt. It wasn't that they doubted Qin Wentian's strength, but rather, it was because Zi Daolong was simply too extraordinary. His cultivation base was at the peak stage of the immortal king realm, and he was the son of Zidi, a demon-level genius. Although the saber-sword immortal king's combat prowess was terrifying, this battle would still be extremely dangerous. After so many battles, seems like your ego has already inflated. The violet light in Zi Daolong's eyes grew even more intense. He stretched out both his hands and abruptly clenched them. With a rumbling sound, the entire space trembled as his body glowed with a violet light, giving off an even more terrifying feeling, like he had an indestructible body. Zidi's ultimate art, the ultimate violet saint immortal art, is filled with boundless might. His attacks are tyrannical and tyrannical. Someone spoke in a low voice. Qin Wentian had long since experienced two of Zidi's ultimate arts. One was the ultimate violet saint immortal art. The other was the Thousand Autumns Emperor art. Both of them contained boundless might, and back then when Zi Daolong unleashed them, they were already extremely powerful. Now that Zi Daolong unleashed both of Zidi's ultimate arts, the difference in power was naturally incomparable. Boom! Zi Daolong stomped out, causing the space to tremble. He walked towards Qin Wentian, not caring about his opponent's sword attack at all. Lifting his palm, he directly blasted out. The violet palm imprint was like the palm of a divinity, capable of annihilating everything, blotting out the sun. Qin Wentian brandished his saber as terrifying law energy circulated around it. With a single slash, a destructive scar appeared in the air, slashing into the violet palm imprint, causing a terrifying boom to echo out. Ziyu! Zi Daolong coldly spoke. His violet eyes turned incomparably terrifying, transforming into a spatial domain. In an instant, Qin Wentian was trapped within. This was a world of violet qi, a law domain. Qin Wentian's eyes still gleamed with the light of truth, able to see through all illusions. However, this time around he discovered that this wasn't a pure illusion but a true law domain. This was a law domain created by his opponent's eye technique. He had no way to see through it with his eyes. In this space, Zi Daolong seemed to have transformed into a divinity that overlooked everything. His body was gigantic and he stared at Qin Wentian. With a wave of his hands, the violet qi in the air converged into an indestructible violet spear that covered the heavens and earth. As Zi Daolong pointed out with his finger, the violet spear pierced through space, shooting towards Qin Wentian. The spear was like a dragon, emitting dragon roars. Each violet spear was like a violet demonic dragon, wanting to annihilate everything. Nobody would be able to escape. Qin Wentian was trapped within, he would die for sure. There was no path of survival. There was basically no way for him to escape. Ziyu. Seems like Zi Daolong has comprehended a law domain. Using his eye technique as a prison, he transformed into an independent dimension, and he himself is the king of it, controlling the size of the dimension. The hearts of everyone trembled. Would Qin Wentian be able to withstand such an attack? Zi Daolong was as expected of a peak-stage immortal king, the son of Zidi. Zidi must have imparted everything he knew to Zi Daolong, including his understanding of the martial Tao. How could Zi Daolong be ordinary? From this attack alone, one could tell how strong he was. If it was an ordinary peak-stage immortal king, they would have already been at a disadvantage. However, although this saber-sword immortal king was only a mid-stage immortal king, he had killed many peak-stage immortal kings before. It was impossible to gauge his full combat prowess, and he should still have some trump cards up his sleeves. He wouldn't be killed so easily. Boundless energy blasted through the air, slamming into Qin Wentian. In just an instant, a thunderous sound of impact rang out as Violet Qi turned wildly. The gazes of everyone stared in the direction where Qin Wentian was at. After that, they saw a resplendent screen of sword light enveloping Qin Wentian, protecting him within. Sword Qi circulated around the screen, gleaming with a golden light. That terrifying attack was actually blocked by this screen of sword light. What a terrifying defense. Zi Daolong's violet eyes narrowed. With a wave of his hand, Violet Qi converged, transforming into a gigantic dragon spear that shot towards Qin Wentian. Bang! The dragon spear slammed into the screen of sword light, causing it to tremble. The terrifying spears penetrated into the screen, but they were all torn apart by the sword intent contained within. This screen of sword light wasn't merely a screen of sword light. It was a type of defensive sword formation that contained boundless law runes. The sword intent contained within was incomparably terrifying. Bang bang bang. The dragon spears all suffered the same fate. Zi Daolong stared downwards only to hear Qin Wentian speaking. Zi Daolong, is this all you have? If this is the case, it's far from enough. I'm just playing with you. Zi Daolong's expression remained unchanged as he emotionlessly spoke. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out as the violet might radiating from him grew even more violent. His body expanded as he transformed into a violet giant, like a divinity, unexcelled in the world. A long spear appeared in Zi Daolong's hands. This was a divine spear that could change its size at will. Right now it was over 1,000 meters long. Just the might radiating from it was sufficient to scare people to death. How strong can your defense be? Zi Daolong's voice rumbled, like the voice of a divinity. His palms were filled with violent might as he stabbed out with his spear, aiming for Qin Wentian's body. At this instant, a violet dragon could be seen revolving around the spear. The dragon revered the spear, incomparably divine. This spear strike was able to penetrate through the void, destroying everything. The immortal kings who were spectating from afar all felt their hearts trembling. This attack was too tyrannical. No matter how powerful Qin Wentian's screen of sword light was, he most probably wouldn't be able to block this heaven-shaking spear strike. If he couldn't block it, he wouldn't bother to block it. The screen of swords that enveloped Qin Wentian suddenly transformed, transforming into a heaven-cleaving sword. The sword intent within the screen of swords transformed into a gigantic sword, capable of annihilating all existences as it directly clashed against the heaven-shaking spear that shot over from the void. The saber-sword immortal king didn't even intend to defend. He directly clashed with Zi Daolong. The spear and sword collided together as a dazzling light radiated forth. Zi Daolong's spear was forced back as his arms trembled. He stared at the towering sword in Qin Wentian's hands. This was no longer the divine weapon that Qin Wentian had. This was a supreme sword formed from pure sword intent. His sword intent has already surpassed the might of divine weapons. The hearts of the spectators trembled. For cultivators, even if the divine weapons they use weren't that much stronger than the user, for the sake of compatibility, they would still surpass the user's own strength. However, this saber-sword immortal king was truly a monster. His sword intent was actually so powerful that it surpassed his divine weapon. At this instant, Zi Daolong's expression changed. He was actually forced back by Qin Wentian's attack. From his perspective, that sure-kill spear strike should have severed Qin Wentian's life. Even if he couldn't kill him, he would at least heavily injure him. However, he didn't. In fact, he was even forced back by that sword strike. That sword intent. Zi Daolong could sense the sword in Qin Wentian's hand. The sword intent radiating from it caused the sword formed from law energy to transform into a river of sword qi, extremely terrifying. In Qin Wentian's body, the holy will gushed forth ferociously, flowing into the sword of law energy in his hand. For this battle against Zi Daolong, he naturally had to go all out. His eyes flashed with killing intent. He wanted to kill the son of the Violet Emperor here. Back then, he didn't manage to kill Zi Daoyang, and was even hunted down by Zidi. Since this was the case, He might as well kill a descendant of Zidi. B. Qin Wentian's body was like a great rock as he soared up into the air. He was like a bolt of lightning as he directly slashed out at Zi Daolong. A terrifying vermilion bird manifested from his sword, capable of destroying everything. Zi Daolong roared in rage. His long spear was like a dragon, blasting out explosively towards the sword might. The demonic dragon collided with the vermilion bird sword, causing everything to crumble apart. At the same time, Zi Daolong's body shrank in size, making it easier for him to be struck by the sword might. Chi-chi. A beam of sword light shot over. Zi Daolong only felt a piercing pain in his violet eyes. That sword contained the power of illusions, causing him to feel as though everything was surreal. This was none other than the Dream Devil sword art created by Qin Wentian using his holy will. Boom. A shocking sword stabbed out like a divine elephant, suppressing everything. Zi Daolong instantly felt his entire body being suppressed by a terrifying might, as that explosive sword might gushed over. A swishing sound rang out. Although Zi Daolong evaded, one of his arms was still severed. Fresh blood flowed unceasingly. Zi Daolong let out a roar of rage, shaking the heavens and earth. His violet eyes gleamed with a violent light as Zidi's other ultimate technique, the Thousand Autumns Emperor art, was unleashed. That attack earlier was too sudden and too violent. Zi Daolong didn't even have the chance to unleash his full strength before one of his arms was severed. Arg. I want you to live a life worse than death. Zi Daolong howled in rage. The space manifested by his violet eyes revolved frenziedly, wanting to bind Qin Wentian. The violet spear in his hand directly flew out, aiming for Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's sword was as fast as lightning. This time around he executed the dragon sword art, clashing against Zi Daolong. Qin Wentian brandished his sharp sword and slashed out several sword arts. However, boundless runic light manifested before Zi Daolong, transforming on their own, actually devouring Qin Wentian's attacks and reflecting them back to him. This was the wondrous effect of the Thousand Autumns Emperor art. B. At this moment, Qin Wentian's eyes were incomparably demonic. Bolts of lightning shot out from his eyes, directly penetrating through his violet eyes and into Zi Daolong's sea of consciousness. At this instant, Zi Daolong only felt an attack appearing in his soul. Soul attack. Zi Daolong only felt his entire body turning cold. Qin Wentian not only had unparalleled attacks, he was also proficient in soul attacks. Although his Thousand Autumns Emperor art was very powerful, it could only be used for ordinary attacks. It couldn't defend against soul attacks. At this instant, Zi Daolong truly felt the threat of death looming over him. His entire body turned cold. This man was a true enemy, an enemy that could take his life. Chapter 1471. Qin Wentian's movements were extremely fast, revolving around Zi Daolong. Occasionally, a shocking sword intent would erupt forth, as fast as lightning. At the same time his powerful soul energy gushed forth, blasting into Zi Daolong's sea of consciousness, causing Zi Daolong to have no time to deal with anything else. His ultimate Violet Saint Immortal art and Thousand Autumns Emperor art were no longer as powerful as before. However, his defense was still as strong as ever. Purple light shone from his body as a purple giant appeared behind him. His palms slammed out continuously, and if he was hit, he would be able to shatter anything. He only had his right hand left, and he gripped his spear tightly as he continued to attack. He no longer had the arrogance and disdain he had before, and had become extremely cautious. Zi Daolong is trapped. He seems to have lost the confidence he had earlier. The battle has become more conservative. This saber sword Immortal King's attacks are so powerful, growing stronger and stronger. His sword arts are shocking and his sword intent is terrifying. Also, each of his attacks is like a sword formation. Rumble. From another direction, Zi Daolong's protector rushed over. This protector was a late-stage peak-stage Immortal King. When he saw Zi Daolong's arm being severed, he immediately wanted to rush over to protect Zi Daolong. Although victory and defeat has yet to be determined, if Zi Daolong really failed, they wouldn't be able to explain themselves. Block him. Bai Qing coldly spoke. Several powerful devil cultivators erupted forth with their devil domains, causing this entire space to glow with a blood-colored light, blocking out everything, not allowing any experts to break free. Before this, Bai Qing said that she would definitely kill Zi Daolong. Now that there was someone who might succeed, how could she allow Zi Daolong to have a chance to aid him? Do you guys really want to form a grudge with the Violet Mountain? A roar of rage rang out. Several immortal kings wanted to break free. Your Violet Mountain's young master is fighting against someone fair and square. If he is killed, it can only mean that he is useless. Before this, he was incomparably arrogant, wanting to kill others. Now you want to use the name of the Violet Mountain? Wuxia calmly spoke. Do you think my Devil Mountain would fear you? What a joke! The battle here was still as shocking as before. As Zi Daolong continued fighting, the attacks on his soul grew increasingly fierce. His confidence was constantly weakening, and what was even more terrifying was that he discovered that Qin Wentian's attacks were still growing stronger. It was as though he had countless trump cards that he had yet to unleash. At this moment, Qin Wentian's eyes burst with a dazzling cold light. His figure flashed and he stretched out his left hand. A small tower seemed to appear in Qin Wentian's palm. Domain. With a cold snort, his law domain enveloped the entire battlefield. Only the astral light was obstructed. What is he doing? Is he going to use his trump card to kill Zi Daolong? Someone exclaimed when he saw this scene. Before this, he didn't release his law domain at all. Could it be that he still has some hidden trump cards and wants to kill Zi Daolong silently? Zi Daolong roared, releasing his astral souls. Behind him, the violet giant wielded two heaven-shaking spears and frenziedly stabbed out, causing chaos in the sky. Even the void was on the verge of collapsing, terrifying to the extreme. Qin Wentian was still moving about. The reason why he sealed this space was because he wanted to conceal his identity. After all, if he unleashed some of his power, others might be able to find out his true identity. Although Zi Daolong was someone he had to kill, Zidi would surely be enraged once he killed him. Using the identity of the Saber-Sword Immortal King to kill Zi Daolong would save him some trouble. The tiny pagoda in his hand grew brighter and brighter. Qin Wentian abruptly stepped out. With a thunderous boom, his law domain erupted forth, suppressing everything. At the same time, the tiny pagoda shot out, causing terrifying clanging sounds to ring out as numerous pagoda after pagoda appeared above Zi Daolong. Even the violet giant behind Zi Daolong was suppressed. Zi Daolong roared in rage. Suppress. Qin Wentian roared. After that, he slashed out with his saber, directly aiming for Zi Daolong's soul. Zi Daolong completely went berserk, but he was still suppressed to this extent. Given his powerful cultivation base, he was actually trapped to this extent. Qin Wentian's expression was as cold as ever. His movement technique flashed as he stabbed out with his sword, aiming for Zi Daolong's head. Scram! Zi Daolong took out a heaven-shaking mirror. In an instant, all the energy in the surroundings was devoured by it. Qin Wentian only felt that the sword in his hand was about to be sucked into it as well. Zi Daolong howled in rage as his palm blasted out, slamming into Qin Wentian's body. In just an instant, Qin Wentian groaned in misery as he coughed out blood. The light from the mirror shot up into the sky, breaking apart everything. Astral light cascaded downwards. The aura of an emperor-ranked weapon. Zi Daolong is a peak-stage immortal king, borrowing the might of an emperor-ranked weapon. Everyone sighed in shock. Zi Daolong was actually forced to such an extent? However, this place was the city of ancient emperors. Kings and emperors had their own Tao. In the air, a formless law energy manifested, akin to the wrath of the heavens. It instantly locked down the space where Qin Wentian and Zi Daolong were at. That terrifying law energy directly blocked the might of the emperor-ranked weapon, blocking the astral light that cascaded downwards. In fact, there was even a formless law energy that blasted downwards, slamming into the mirror as punishment. A crisp sound rang out as the emperor-ranked weapon exploded. Astral light radiated outwards, blinding everyone's eyes. Was this the Tao of Law in the city of ancient emperors? Emperor-ranked energy was used to contend against immortal emperors. It was forbidden to interfere in a battle between immortal kings. Scram! Zidaolong roared. Although Qin Wentian was injured, he killed his way out once more. His sword light was extremely dazzling, directly imprinting itself into Zidaolong's eyes, causing him to enter a dreamscape. Die! Qin Wentian's killing intent towered up into the sky. This sword strike of his was a life-reaping sword. Zidaolong roared. He raised his arms in front of him as he rushed forward. The sword slashed out, causing blood to splatter. The destructive sword strike directly penetrated through Zidaolong's chest as a terrifying aura bore down on him. After that, the silhouette of an immortal king suddenly appeared, exuding a heaven-shaking might. A true immortal emperor stood proudly in the air, radiating towering rage. Violet chi circulated around him. This was none other than Zidi. Could it be that the immortal sense of an emperor can interfere in a battle of this level? Qin Wentian coldly laughed. Even if an immortal emperor appeared, it was ultimately just a strand of immortal sense. At the immortal king realm, especially at the later levels, immortal sense was no longer that useful. It was just a strand of immortal sense, let alone the fact that this place was governed by the rules of the city of ancient emperors. The law energy bore down. Zidi's body was enveloped by violet light. He stared at Qin Wentian. Spare him this once. Zidi knew that his immortal sense had no way to control Qin Wentian. Hence, he didn't act too forcefully. However, Qin Wentian merely smiled at him. Scram! As the sound of his voice rang out, countless people were stunned. This fellow was crazy. He even dared to curse at Zidi's immortal sense. This was simply an insult to Zidi, a peak-stage immortal emperor. Zidi's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. His law energy frenziedly devoured the violet light radiating from Zidi. After that, Zidi's eyes stared at Qin Wentian, as though wanting to see through him, causing fear to appear in Qin Wentian's heart. However, he didn't know that Qin Wentian was already his mortal enemy. How could he spare Zidaolong? If you kill me, you will become enemies with the entire Violet Mountain. Even your friends and family will be hunted down by the Violet Mountain. Zidaolong threatened. Ha 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 ha, Zidaolong, you are truly pitiful. As a peak-stage immortal king, you actually dare to say such words. I truly feel pity for you. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, a soul attack shot out from his eyes. His sword stabbed out as a torrential sword intent transformed into a sword river, gushing forth, wanting to destroy everything. Zidaolong roared. That formless pagoda intent bore down on him. For this battle, he was already powerless to reverse the situation. He, Zidaolong, was the son of Zidi. He came to the city of ancient emperors to contend for supremacy, wanting to defeat all the heroes in the world. Who would have thought that he would be killed here by a nameless immortal king? Sword light descended, both his arms were severed. How could he block Qin Wentian? Zidaolong's violet eyes flashed with an intense reluctance. Why are you doing this, willing to pay any price to kill me? Zidaolong spoke with reluctance. Because I'm Qin Wentian. A voice rang out in Zidaolong's mind. His eyes instantly widened as the sword light slashed down, slashing down. Zidaolong's eyes were still wide open. Before he died, he finally understood why the saber-sword immortal king wanted him dead. Before he died, he was still shocked. Why did Qin Wentian already have the strength to kill him? Back then, that ant-like character was someone he went to ask the Evergreen Kingdom and the Namhuang clan for. Why was that person so powerful to the extent where he could kill him? It was destined that he would never be able to find the answer. At the instant Zidaolong died, the entire space turned silent. The immortal kings from afar stared in shock at this scene, speechless in their hearts. Zidaolong's head was severed, he died. The eyes on his head were still wide open, filled with reluctance. Before this, he was lofty, unexcelled in the world. As a peak-stage immortal king with unrivaled combat prowess, he was also the son of Zidi and had an emperor-ranked weapon. But today he still died here. In the eastern regions of the immortal realms, at a place extremely far away from the city of ancient emperors, there was a Violet Mountain. At this moment, on the Violet Mountain, a terrifying might swept over everything. Towering flames of rage filled the area as violet chi gushed forth, causing the sky to change color. Wuxia, who was on the Violet Mountain, was enraged. His heart trembled as he stared at the heavenly palace in the center of the Violet Mountain. Zidi was infuriated. What was going on? With a thunderous boom, Zidi soared up into the air, staring disdainfully at the world. He was a peak-stage immortal emperor, and it was rare for there to be someone who could fight against him. However, he had lost two of his sons, Zi Daoyang and Zi Daolong. He inclined his head. A pair of violet eyes appeared in the air, peering into the surroundings. The hearts of the cultivators on the Violet Mountain trembled violently. Everyone stopped their cultivation, not daring to say a word. Zidi was enraged. Something shocking must have happened. It has been a very long time since they saw Zidi so enraged. Violet Mountain Immortal King Wuxia move out. Follow me to the city of ancient emperors to kill this man. Zidi calmly spoke. In an instant, the violet light in the air changed, transforming into a figure. This was none other than Qin Wentian's incarnation of the saber-sword Immortal King. Zidi was enraged, ordering the Violet Mountain Immortal King to move out to kill a man. What did this man do exactly? Zidi's son Zi Daolong was cultivating in the city of ancient emperors. Could it be? When they thought of this, their bodies trembled. Chapter 1472. In the surroundings of the city of ancient emperors, the spectators were still in shock from Zi Daolong's death. This saber-sword immortal king actually killed Zi Daolong on the spot. He roared at Zidi's immortal sense, telling Zidi to scram. After that, he decapitated Zi Daolong. Before this, Zi Daolong humiliated him, wanting to kill the saber-sword immortal king. But now he actually ended up being killed. It was extremely miserable. Zi Daolong's death caused the other battles on the other battlefields to stop. After all, the core character of this battle was none other than Zi Daolong. It was because he wanted to hunt down the devil maidens of the myriad devil islands. Zi Daolong's death was the core character of this battle. Wuxia from the Violet Mountain trembled as he stared at Zi Daolong's corpse, not daring to believe this was real. In the immortal realms, as long as the descendants of immortal emperors didn't offend two terrifying characters, they wouldn't die so easily, let alone the descendants of peak-stage immortal emperors. Also, Zi Daolong himself had a peak-stage immortal king cultivation base. Even if he offended an Empyrean, Zi Daolong wouldn't dare to kill him. After all, it wasn't so easy to endure the revenge of a peak-stage immortal emperor. However, Zi Daolong offended a madman. This saber-sword immortal king actually killed Zi Daolong in front of everyone. Let alone the people from the Violet Mountain. Even those from the Heavenly Talisman realm and the Devil Mountain were taken aback. They didn't expect that Qin Wentian would be so ruthless, killing Zi Daolong just like that. Zi Daolong has fallen. Zidi will definitely not spare you. There are many immortal kings under Zidi, and they would most probably send people to kill their way to the city of ancient emperors. Sir, you might have to hide for a while. Wuxia transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he glanced at Wuxia. After that, he spoke. Earlier in the ancient emperor palace, Zi Daolong already humiliated me by saying that I wasn't qualified to enter the floating palace, and was on equal footing with him. Earlier, he even wanted to kill me. But the facts have proven that Zi Daolong is merely SOSO. Since he wants to kill this seat, how can this seat spare him? Those who want to kill this seat must die. Qin Wentian's domineering declaration was to strengthen his image as the saber-sword immortal king. He didn't want people to suspect that he had a grudge with Zi Daolong. He came to the city of ancient emperors with the identity of the saber-sword immortal king. By competing for supremacy here, he would surely have many enemies. In order to avoid too much trouble, it was undoubtedly the best choice to separate the saber-sword immortal king from Qin Wentian. All of you, prepare to suffer the wrath of Zidi. A peak-stage immortal king from the Violet Mountain icily spoke. His body was trembling as a cold intent radiated from him. I originally planned to kill Zi Daolong. No matter what, all of you will blame this grudge on me. Hence, continue to kill. There's no need to hold back. Bai Qing decisively commanded. The person she hated was none other than Zidi. As a peak stage immortal emperor, he actually disregarded his status and wanted to kill Qin Wentian. Since Zidi already wanted to kill her Qin Wentian Gij, what else was there to say? She could only kill. She wouldn't care about offending Zidi. She originally came here to kill Zidaolong. What guts! That peak stage immortal king roared in rage. However, the devil cultivators had already rushed over. Qin Wentian's eyes were cold to the extreme. His silhouette flashed, cooperating with the other devil cultivators as they rushed towards Wuxia from the Violet Mountain. To him, things were even simpler. These people would be his enemies in the future. If he could kill as many as he could now, he would do so. What should we do? The experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom and the Supreme Sword School exchanged glances as they silently transmitted their voices. Once Zidaolong died, the situation was already out of control. Tuoba Saint Sky and Jun Mingchen were also transmitting their voices. Jun Mingchen spoke, "Senior brother Tuoba, these Wuxia from the Violet Mountain are hesitating. Most probably they don't want to continue fighting. Let's block them and allow senior brother Qin and the experts from the Devil Mountain to focus on dealing with Wuxia from the Violet Mountain." Okay. Tuoba Saint Sky nodded. Their auras gushed forth, enveloping the immortal kings from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. Just like what Jun Mingchen predicted, these people truly didn't have the heart to continue fighting. But it wasn't good for them to abandon the experts from the Violet Mountain and leave. Hence, during the battle, they intentionally drew the battlefield away and didn't use their full strength. The experts from the Violet Mountain were surrounded. Qin Wentian unceasingly slaughtered some of the immortal kings. At this moment, a peak stage immortal king roared in rage, "Let's leave." As the sound of his voice faded, the Violet Mountain immortal king tried to escape in different directions. However, how could the devil cultivators and Qin Wentian let them go so easily? The judiciary prison and various other domains were unleashed, trapping and killing them. In the end, only a few extremely powerful peak stage immortal kings managed to escape. There was no way for them to stay behind. As for the experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, they actually left the battlefield unknowingly. Zidaolong died unjustly. When these people saw Zidaolong's death, they knew that Zidi would definitely be enraged. They were hoping that Zidi would send reinforcements to kill these people. They only wanted to protect themselves. The alliance between different powers isn't so solid after all. Everyone whispered. Qin Wentian glanced at the battlefield, staring at Bai Qing, Bujia and the other devil cultivators as he spoke. "Everyone, you have to be more careful in the future. Saber Sword Immortal King, you have to be careful too," Bujia reminded. After all, they fought side by side before. Although they didn't know that the Saber Sword Immortal King was Qin Wentian, they still had a good impression of him. After this battle, they were like friends. Farewell. Qin Wentian clasped his hands. After that, he glanced in the direction of Jun Mingchen before his silhouette flashed as he departed alone. He wasn't afraid that Wuxia of the Violet Mountain would find trouble with him and deal with him. Earlier, he killed Zidaolong. Most probably, it was enough to shock many supreme immortal kings. Although Zidaolong was only at the initial phase of the peak stage, his combat prowess was at the late phase and he was still killed by Qin Wentian. No matter who wanted to deal with him, they would have to think twice before doing so. The spectators all sighed. After that, they gradually dispersed. The news of Zidaolong's death caused a huge commotion even in the city of ancient emperors. This was especially so for those in the immortal realms. After all, Zidaolong was still quite famous. He was the son of Zidi, yet he was killed. This caused many supreme immortal kings to be filled with curiosity towards this mysterious saber sword immortal king. After that, more news circulated. Before the saber sword immortal king killed Zidaolong, he had already killed several other immortal kings, including a peak stage immortal king from the Supreme Sword School. In an instant, the saber sword immortal king's name resounded through the city of ancient emperors. Many immortal kings were discussing about this crazy fellow. He simply didn't have those peak powers in his eyes at all. After that, many immortal kings wanted to challenge the saber sword immortal king, wanting to see how strong he was exactly, and whether he could kill Zidaolong. Someone said that this son of Zdi Daolong didn't live up to his reputation. A peak-stage immortal king was actually killed by a mid-stage immortal king. This was an extremely disgraceful battle. If Zdi Daolong didn't die, he wouldn't be able to afford to lose so much face. Naturally, there were also people who admired the saber-sword immortal king's courage. There were also people who wanted to meet this saber-sword immortal king. What sort of character was he exactly? He could kill Zdi Daolong in a situation where so many experts from the Violet Mountain gathered, telling a peak-stage immortal emperor to scram, and even daring to kill immortal kings from the Supreme Sword School. Several days later, outside an ancient palace in the city of ancient emperors, several experts stood there. Their gazes were fixed on the dilapidated palace as their countenances gleamed with sharpness. In the city of ancient emperors, there were countless secrets hidden within. The experts in the city of ancient emperors were all searching for them. Who is he? Someone saw a man sitting cross-legged in the dilapidated palace, his eyes closed in cultivation. What a shocking amount of emperor's fate. Someone stared at the emperor's fate behind him, and didn't dare to antagonize him. That emperor's fate was too dazzling. Clearly, this was someone who had a glorious battle record and was respected and feared by many. Only such a person would be able to gather enough emperor's fate. Saber and sword. Someone noticed the saber and sword on his back as a look of interest flashed in their eyes. Right now there was a person whose name caused a commotion in the city of ancient emperors. This person was none other than the saber-sword immortal king. You are the saber-sword immortal king? A voice rang out. Some of the immortal kings actually opened up a path as several figures walked over. However, there was a single person in the center, the person in the lead. This was a female immortal king, radiating a dazzling radiance. With just a single glance, one would be able to sense the nobility exuding from her. This was a woman whose beauty could cause the sun and moon to lose their luster. Just by standing there, she instantly became the center of attention, attracting the gazes of everyone. Su Qingyao. When the immortal kings saw this woman, they instantly knew who she was. Su Qingyao, one of the peak beauties of the central regions. She was simply too outstanding. Not only was her beauty unparalleled, her talent and background were shocking as well, causing countless men to fall in love with her and women to be jealous. Qin Wentian's eyes were closed. It was like he didn't hear anything. During these days, he was harassed by many people. Maybe it was because he killed his way to fame that day. Many people could guess his identity the moment they saw the saber and sword on his back. She is talking to you. Don't you think it's a little rude to ignore her? Su Qingyao had a smile on her face. She curiously surveyed Qin Wentian, a mid-stage immortal king who could kill Zdi Daolong. Su Qingyao's cultivation base was also at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm, and she was at the peak of this level. This man before her was on the same level as her, and his fame shook the entire city of ancient emperors. How do you want me to reply? Qin Wentian opened his eyes and glanced at Su Qingyao. His eyes flashed with a bright light as he felt a sense of awe. This woman before him was definitely one of the most beautiful women he had ever seen. Her long robes accentuated her slender and exquisite figure, making her look flawless and flawless. She was truly a supreme beauty in the mortal world. Saber-sword immortal king, I want to discuss the martial Tao with you. Is it not worth it for you to speak up? Su Qingyao's smile grew even more radiant when she saw the fluctuations in Qin Wentian's eyes. Qin Wentian silently mused. He then stood up and smiled. With such a beauty here, wouldn't discussing the martial Tao be harmful? Why don't we talk about romance? Wouldn't that be even more beautiful? The expressions of everyone changed as they stared at the saber-sword immortal king. This fellow was still so audacious, daring to kill Zdi Daolong and even teasing Fairy Su. Could it be that he didn't know what sort of character Su Qingyao was? She wasn't someone he could tease. Once, there was a peak-stage immortal king who teased Su Qingyao and the consequences were extremely tragic. In fact, Su Qingyao didn't even need to act. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.